Welcome back to the kick-off. Today I'm joined by Joy, Manel, Craig and Josh. It's the boys. And special welcome to our newest guest, Manel, Arsenal boy, top bowler, the king of the channel. How are you doing?
I'm all good, man. Look, listen, I've told you I've watched your platform before. I really enjoy all the content you put out there, and I really mean it. So yeah, no, I'm excited to be here and hopefully excited to see Arsenal give one to United.
What we saying, lads? Do you reckon this is an Arsenal win today, or do you reckon Man United are going to do it?
I hate to say it, but I just think Arsenal at the Emirates, they look good. They're very good at the Emirates, and they got a good record against Man United at the Emirates. Yeah. And Man United haven't been good, so I'm going to give the ops their props.
Come on.
Joey, I don't know what you think, but I'm thinking it to be typical Man United, right, to play so shit in these last three games. I've watched every time thinking, how have you guys keep getting points here when they're playing so poorly, but then they turn up and absolutely smash Arsenal today?
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Do you remember last season when Man United had a poor start, 2 bad results, and then they played Liverpool, who were looking like they were going to be banging form, challenging again, had just come off the back of a really good season. Man United end up beating them, 3-2, I think it was? Yeah. So there's always that potential. But if I had to put my neck on the line, I think Arsenal win. And I feel like they're going to pump them.
Do you know what it is, right? It's styles, though, isn't it? That's my only worry is I think Man United's counter-attacking style could help them today. Like, when the pressure's been on them to break a side like Spurs down, they look clueless. But when the other team are coming on to them and having that outball to Rashford, I don't know, I think that might be an option. What are you saying about the team lineups today? Josh, you want to read them out?
Yeah, of course. So, for Arsenal, we've got Ramsey in goal, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko at the back, Odegaard, Rice and Havertz in the midfield, and we'll talk very much about Havertz in a bit, Saka, Nketiah and Martinelli. And then for Man United, you've got Onana, Dalot is filling in at left back, Martinez, Lindelof because Varane's injured, Wan-Bissaka at the right back, Eriksen and Casemiro are the holders, Rashford, Bruno, Anthony, and then Martial up front. And we've heard some rumours that Martial may have been injured in the warm-up, but it could be a load of rubbish. So let's see if he ends up starting.
Martial's a fucking lightweight, isn't he?
United.
I don't think people tell lies on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting choice today. I mean, we were on about Zinchenko beforehand. He didn't really get enough game time last year. That's a big help for them.
This has to be your ideal back 4, back 5, right? Is that not that simple?
No, I would say it's definitely as simple as that.
Without Timber.
With Timber out of the picture, 100% it's as simple as that. And I'm so surprised that he started QR at left back last game. I didn't really understand it. I mean, he said that there was 42 changes made in that game. I'm baffed by that. I didn't really understand that. But yeah, I mean, with that back 4, it makes me so much more confident going into this game. And I really think, I saw you touching on Havertz over there, but I think Zinchenko can unlock Havertz over there a little bit as well. Havertz has been coming too deep recently in games, and I think if you stick him a bit higher up, Zinchenko inverts and really runs the show. So, have you been wanting this lineup, this sort of like back 4, back 5 for all of the other games, or have you been backing Arteta to sort of? I mean, with his weird choices, because there's some weird picks that you've done in the last few weeks. There definitely is, but I feel like at this moment right now we can back him. I feel like it's a point where we can back him, but it hits a point where it's like you can just go back to basics, mate. And I feel like this back 4 over here, I'm sure just speaking for a lot of Arsenal fans as well, it just makes us feel so much more comfortable going into the game. So come on, the Gooners.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get into a lot of topics, including Newcastle at some point. But I'm going to start with Chelsea today. Lads, $1 billion spent. Feeling good?
Yeah, it does feel good, yeah. I didn't watch the game. Did anyone watch it?
No, you were there. It was so funny because I was like, all right, proud about it, right? Because I'm texting these lads like, yes, we've got some rants coming tomorrow. And then a half hour later, Newcastle showed up.
Yeah.
Or didn't. But when I was watching Forrest really take you apart in that goal, it was quite embarrassing. And it wasn't just the one time Elanga. He literally, I don't know if you've seen a highlight that someone made of Mudryk getting the runaround from Elanga on Twitter. It was quite embarrassing. And if Elanga had actually had better decision making on that day, he would have punished you guys more than he even managed to in that game. So what went wrong defensively for a start?
I think one of the main things that I am a big advocate of is we need to have Levi Colwill in the centre-back position rather than at left-back. I get he's a versatile player, I get he's very good, and he's not really put much of a foot wrong at times, but his strength is in centre-back. Let's start him there. We've spoke a little bit about managers not maybe being prepared to fall on their sword when it comes to signings they've brought in and whatnot. You look at the Axel Disasi signing, he's been brought in for big money for a centre-back, 25-year-old, brought in from, where was he, Monaco, and I don't think he's looked very good. Like, I really don't think he's looked the part in that role. I would like to see Silva paired by Levi Colwill there.
Did you see Silva replying to that guy on Instagram?
No, I didn't. No.
On Twitter.
It was Instagram.
What was it?
Someone was like, I think it's time to drop Silva, and he was like, we can't play him in this formation. And Silva's like, we are actually playing the formation that you've...
Thiago Silva basically said, we are playing a back four, and if you want to put the pressure on me, put the pressure on, but I'm going to keep turning out. It was actually reminiscent of the Bruno thing.
No, it wasn't.
Why?
Because Silva dealt with it perfectly. Like the post, very polite. Was like, I know you're entitled to your opinion, but Bruno was a lot more like, you're a fucking idiot. So I thought you handled it really well, to be fair.
Do you know why yesterday hurt a lot? Because I'm always trying to look for the positives in things, right? So when we look at the West Ham performance, whether you're into XG or not, we were quite high on XG. We actually played well in a lot of moments in that game. Liverpool, we only got a point, but a point against a good Liverpool side that are going on and doing well at the minute. So there was room for optimism. Yesterday was shocking. We were bad. Like, we were bad. You know what I mean? We weren't good.
You weren't creating anything.
I don't think we had a shot on target. And it's...
Mate, let's not... the miss of the season, wasn't it? Jesus. And when you're hoping for a young kid to come good up front, what's his name again?
Jackson.
Sorry. I've been impressed with his movement, and he scored a goal against Newcastle in pre-season. I'm like, okay, I can see him running in behind, creating problems. In this game, when that ball sits up for him and he blasts it over the bar, and then you look deeper into his XG, he's got 1 goal from 4 XG recently. It's not clicking for him. And it's even more pissing me off that I took Ferguson out of my fantasy team and put that useless prick.
No way.
So, mate, I've had a mate. So what is it? Is it just not happening yet for him? Or are you losing faith when you see something like that?
No, I'm definitely not losing faith. I think the main thing that we need to do is take a step back, have a little look at the bigger picture, and just go, right, okay, we've brought a lot of players in. The headline is always going to be $1 billion. And rightly so. If you spend that much money, you have to sort of take the criticism that can come with it. But if you actually take away the money we've spent and say, okay, they're gelling 12 signings this window in and whatnot, you can probably go, okay, we have a little bit of leeway in terms of these lot need to work out how they play well together. They need to grow, build bonding, things like that. The main thing that I would say is there needs to be a formation change.
Okay, so that brings us on to who's responsible for all of this, and that's Pochettino. At the end of the day, the buck's always going to stop with him, especially when Todd Bowley's around. I've seen Poch getting more criticism on Twitter, and it's not a gauge, but it's where I'm getting my information from. And the Chelsea fans were not impressed with Poch after that game. What did you make of him?
Yeah, it's the lineup that surprised us all, I think, to be fair. Like, when we keep setting up with Chilwell as a left winger, and we're sick and tired of seeing that. So basically, when Thiago Silva's going, we're playing in a back four. Yes, we're playing with a 4 at the back, but then you've got a defender playing on the left wing. And basically, that left-hand side there was just nothing there. Like, there was no attacking impetus from Chilwell, and there was no sort of like movement that way. So the criticism of Poch isn't necessarily about the overall team performance. It's sometimes about just the way he's setting up the team. And also, like, we're again shouting out now that we just need to play with a double pivot. Like, basically, our midfield is getting exposed. It caused their goal, yesterday.
It did, yeah.
So it's more about putting another
golden
body.
Boy who lost the ball.
Yeah, let's not put too much pressure on him. Let's not worry about how much we spent on guys. Anyway. Let's not bring that up.
Just 100 plus million.
I can't be asked to talk about that again. Okay. But yeah, we just need to have someone next to him. And basically, like, he's playing Enzo as a number 10. And I understand why, because he's got a lot of potency, but he should maybe be a bit further back. So basically, there are 2 areas there where, as Chelsea fans, we're looking at it and going, he's set the team up.
Enzo isn't looking like a number 10. When he's in front of goal, the creation and the scoring, it ain't happening.
Well, that's the key thing that we can address here. We have actually brought in someone now who can play in that number 10 role. And when Cole Palmer came on yesterday, he did look decent. He looked quite good. So maybe that will be something that we sort of move towards. And listen, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but the injuries we've had have been horrific, and they've hampered us for 2 seasons now.
You're losing this right now. You know what I mean, though? Because we've got more players than I can even name.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying you're not right,
Yeah.
but when a non-Chelsea fan hears that, we're like, how the fuck can you talk about
We've got 10 first-team players injured, and imagine
what is the first-team player?
Imagine,
What
You
is your
don't even
first
know.
team?
it's true.
What is your first
Nkunku would be in there. Nkunku would
Okay,
be
that's
in
a
there.
fair
Reece
shout.
James would be in there. Obviously, you look at other areas on the pitch.
Oh,
where it's
no,
a little
carry
bit-
on, carry on. Who
What,
else?
more players that would be
you
in
said
there.
2. Go on.
Okay,
You said you've got
Fofana.
10 injuries.
Fofana,
Badia Shield.
Badiashile.
Are they started?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
you
if
say
look-
that even with
when they were available more often than
All
not.
right,
they were starting.
let me know, say. What are you saying, bro?
I don't know. Look, listen, they say that as well with Nkunku as well, but you have no idea how he's going to adapt to the Premier League. So he could jump on and be a flop for 3 games as well. You have no idea ultimately. So I hear what you're saying. He's a big money signing, but
That's
you
my
don't
worry
know
with
how he's
Palmer.
gonna-
But look,
My worry with
James is a
Palmer.
fair shout, even for fun. Fair enough.
But look, if any other team in the Premier League had 10 injuries, you would all be screwed.
But you have, like,
if you
60
had 10
players.
injuries, you'd be screwed. If
This
you
is-
had
yeah,
Yeah, but
10
we don't
injuries,
have
you'd
like
be
a
screwed.
40-man squad.
Yeah, it's true. No one's got the squad you guys do. So.
You can
26 man.
guarantee with Nkunku he's going to come in and do a better job than Havertz, and that isn't even me bantering. I'm being
Okay,
serious.
that-
We got rid of
that's a fair
Havertz.
shout.
We got
Yeah, that's not
guaranteed
That's why.
because he's put up good numbers in Germany consistently
Havertz.
consistently over time. Havertz come in when he was 19, and Nkunku's
Yeah,
25.
Havertz
So
only
we've-
scored the Champions League winning goal for you guys. I mean, you
And he
know.
had
Goals are
2
goals.
solid seasons as well in Germany.
Yeah,
He had
but-
2. He was the golden boy in Germany. When you lot
You
scored,
lot
you were
don't put,
gas.
they don't put respect on Havertz's name at all.
Yeah, not at
He
all, not
scored
a
the
bit.
Champions League
I mean,
winning goal.
you're gonna see why today.
But then they credit all to
Oh, I
Mason
love it if
Mount.
he scores that. That's going in the highlights.
Hey, Zinchenko's going to unlock Havertz.
This Cole Palmer transfer is really interesting because, like, all right, yeah, he looked good when we seen him, but like, just boom, 40 million or what? Was it 40 million?
45.
45?
Yeah.
How confident is anyone that that's a good idea? I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but it's just we're seeing such a little amount of evidence now. Like back in the day when transfers were happening, everyone was so much more methodical, but people are so scared now because of Chelsea and Man City that a team is going to go and get them. That it's just like, yep, take them. And you can remember, like Andy Carroll. I'll just give an example. Andy Carroll had 6 amazing months for Newcastle where he dominated the Premier League. He had 12 goals in 13 games. He looked like the second coming of fucking Gabriel Batistuta, right? We sold him for 35
A little bit too much.
Bro, watch those highlights. There ain't no exaggeration. He was in the form of his life, and the point still stands is anyone can have a good 6 months. Almiron had an amazing he looked like Messi, right? It doesn't sometimes. And Chelsea are guaranteed to feel the burn of this. You're buying players off of too much small sample size of qualifying them to play for the club. And sometimes it's going to work great because you're going to get there before everyone else realises. But obviously, some of these are going to flop, aren't they?
Of course, and when you look at the fees, that's the problem. Because if you chop the fees in half, I know that sounds simplistic.
No,
but
you're right.
If you chop the fees in half and you go, right, they've brought in this 21-year-old, he's looked good and X, Y, and Z, and he's got sell-on value, then you can go, it's clever. But the problem is when you see Brighton doing it and these other clubs doing it, they're not spending millions and millions and millions on these players. So I do understand it and I do get it, and I'm a realist. I'm not just going to back Chelsea and go, yeah. But what I would also say is, not all of these players, if whoever's sanctioning the moves are being honest with themselves, not all of these players are going to become first-team players at Chelsea Football Club. And although it's very easy to make the argument of, well, if you spent 40 million on them, shouldn't they? Yeah, okay, but if we can recoup money for them, which I know people will think that's unrealistic, but I tell you what, a lot of people wouldn't have thought it was realistic that we'd have been able to recoup more or less what we paid for Kai Havertz, you know? Okay.
I've got a counterpoint. I think it's a really good point, and I could be wrong here, but my only worry is in previous Chelsea teams gone by, they've had a lot more established stars as well to then bring in the youngsters, and it was more balanced. And therefore, those established stars could help elevate those guys and bring them on and carry them, which is very important, which has not been thought of at all, in my opinion, in this Chelsea team. And another problem is, how can you track progress when you change everything in one go? Like a scientific experiment, you want to kind of go, okay, we're going to change this one thing, keep everything else the same, and then if that that has a positive influence. We know that that's what it was. If you change everything, how can you track what is working and what isn't working? Like, I can't sit here and go, Pochettino's having a terrible time of it, because I don't know if the players are the problem. Like, everything's changed in one go, and I think that's the one problem where previously you guys used to be able to guarantee that you'd get sell-on value for a lot of these players. This might be the first time that Chelsea end up in a Manchester United position where you've just spent tens and hundreds of millions on players who you get nothing back for. Just like Lukaku now is becoming a Chelsea. Or, do you know what I mean? It could happen.
Also,
I may be wrong, but...
No, you're right. But also as fans, why are we speaking from like boardroom level? Like, oh, they're going to sell it and get money. Your focus should be really... Obviously, we care about the club making money. They can reinvest. But your focus should be what's going on the pitch. That's for all them, because we don't see any of that money. And at the moment, I just feel like the synergy's not there. When you've got that amount of big signings, those kind of players, it's going to be hard to get them settled, because they're all competing, they're all fairly new, getting used to the ground, Cobham itself. How are you going to keep all of them happy? Pochettino kind of had that problem at PSG.
Yeah. You got to remember, guys, let's do a bit of time traveling. We'll go back, and you saw how toxic that squad was last year. And you're saying to me, oh yeah, let's keep Kovacic and let's keep Pulisic, let's keep X, Y, Z, right? Name some other players that could be in there.
I'm not such a...
You know how toxic they were as a club. And so the club has gone, do you want to be here or not? And they go, yes or no. Pulisic goes, no, I don't want to be here. Kovacic, no, I don't want to be here. Edward Mendy, no, I don't want to be here. And if they don't want to be here, Mason Mount, he doesn't want to be there. If he doesn't, then goodbye. Imagine having someone starting in your starting 11 and they go, yeah, actually, I don't really want to be here. And you go, oh, yeah, sure, we'll just carry on playing you. So what do you expect us to do? Do you expect us to just play those players?
I think there's two extremes, though. And what you're doing is coming at it from... So the one extreme is all of these players don't want to be here, let's get rid of them all. And the other extreme is now all these youngsters have come in. Like, there's somewhere in the middle that Arsenal are doing right now where they're building with youngsters, but they're also keeping a nucleus of experienced players. And all of your, what I would call players who would welcome youngsters into the club, Mason Mount, Kovacic, they're the kind of players who you go, they're going to show them the Chelsea way, and now they're gone. I don't know who's showing anyone the Chelsea way now.
Reece James.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, well, who's never on the pitch. I think it's quite difficult, isn't it? We look at certain signings, yeah, and I know we get onto them, but you look at the way that Maddison signed Spurs. Chelsea could have gone and got Spurs, and do you know what? Without trying to be disrespectful, if Chelsea and Spurs both go for Maddison, you know that probably because of the pull power and the finances involved, Chelsea are going to get Maddison. Why didn't Chelsea consider Maddison? Because he's 26 years old. Yeah, 25 and under is our rule now. We're only signing players 25 and under. So it's all well and good saying one for the future. But like you're saying, Brian, you do need players for the here and now.
That's kind of what I'm feeling about Newcastle right now, was our whole transfer window was devoted to youngsters. And then I'm watching Maddison do what he was doing when we were linked with him for fucking 2 years. It's brutal. But getting to the actual problem at hand, just... There is no way anyone can justify Nottingham Forest coming to your backyard and beating you 1-0 the way they did. So is there a main reason that you both feel like that happened?
I couldn't tell you. And that's just me being honest. That's just me being honest. I'd like to talk for the sake of it, but no, I don't know why it's happening. It's hard because, when you look at where we are...
What did they do better than you then?
No, they didn't do too much better than us.
I think our kryptonite is this. Teams come to Chelsea and they know that we've got a young squad that is inexperienced and not gelled very well together. So what they do is they just boss us off the park. They do a low block, they outwork us, and they're more physical than us. And so if that's a Premier League team watching right now, this is the game plan. Get some big, strong boys, make us run around, be aggressive, and also when you've got the counter, go for it.
Okay,
absolutely
so
be aggressive. And this is what, and for one second, this is what Forest did very, very well, and we need to give them credit because as much as this is Chelsea's failure, Forest did the game plan and they played it perfectly.
Forest are
Steve
definitely
Cooper needs a bit of credit.
But what you've just done is kind of identified everything that you could have made sure didn't happen in the transfer window by going, okay, do we want the best young players in the world? Yeah, we'll get as many, but we also need reliable grinders who are going to put the work in and not be bullied. As young kids are.
Can I tell you from a Chelsea fan's perspective what the worrying thing is? So as much as I like to try and back my club as much as possible, here's the worrying thing. When we speak about the personnel of those sort of players that we need around, to bed in these new players, it doesn't necessarily mean the personnel of that player is going to be a world-class player, an absolute world beater. Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Someone like a Ruben Loftus-Cheek who was positionally very versatile, will play in different things, has come through the academy. We let him go. We were open to letting Chalobah go. We've let Lewis Hall go, albeit we spoke about that. He was younger, but we're letting a lot of these academy products go. And obviously from a business standpoint, you can say, oh, well, it's 100% profit. But I would agree with you. We do need those sort of players that are able to help bed in these younger players and help them understand the culture of the club.
What I want to know right now is, so whose failure is it? So who do you point the finger at right now? Because from what I'm hearing, it's sounding like, I mean, the whole rule of you can't sign someone that's over 25, it must be high up above. Or is it Pochettino that you're going to blame right now?
That's under the assumption that it is a failure, though, because we need to let the story play out a little bit more before we say it definitely is a failure. Early. 3 weeks in football can change everything. If we go
Pochettino will do well. I know I've got an affinity towards him, but I'm telling you, if you want a manager to work with young players and develop them and get them playing good football, there aren't too many better than Pochettino for that purpose. I'm telling you. And just going back to what you said about why they lost the game. Pochettino said it after the game, man. They didn't put the ball in the back of the net. And I know that seems obvious and simple, but Jackson, that was a tap-in. It was a tap-in. Like Sterling put it on a plate for him to tap in. They score that, it's 1-1. The whole complexion of the game changes now. They might go on and win the game after that. Yeah.
They
probably do.
We had
put the ball in the back of the net. It wasn't clinical enough. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
But they always need a shitload of chances, Chelsea, it seems. Whenever I watch them lately, they aren't clinical just by. And that's
Josh one of
was
rating Jackson the other week.
Well, yeah. And
I rate him now. I rate him now.
But even like watching Mudryk, he was rumoured to be getting loaned out at the last week of the transfer window. That was meant.
Mudryk's I'd say the main one out of all these signings that we seriously have to look at and think, hold on, what is going on here? Because like we were saying about Ben Chilwell, okay, Pochettino might like a system where he has, Levi Colwill his left back, a little bit more physical, better defender maybe than Ben Chilwell. But if you put Ben Chilwell at left back and then, you've got a man you bought in for 80-odd million in Mudryk who can play that left wing position, he's not really getting a look in. I know he's come back from an injury, but when have we really seen him have a sustained run in the team? We're not seeing that. So some of them are head scratchers.
There's like multiple managers now who haven't rated him as well. It's not just one manager.
No, but he only came in January.
No, but the point is for me, when I see two managers in a row go, don't fancy him. Well, then why? Because he's on an 8-year fucking contract.
Let's without me slating a man that I love in Frank Lampard, let's see how Poch gets on with him and give that a bit of time, because I don't think we can really base how we perceive him because Lampard and Potter didn't really rate him.
The only real worry, I believe that a lot of these players are going to come good. I'm not saying it's a disaster, but it could turn into a disaster because of the length of these contracts.
What do we see as a disaster then? Because let's say, for example, right, 12th in the table at the minute. Said it before. I like it. It's consistent. No, I'm joking. No, 12th in the table at the minute. Yeah, look, we can't be finishing in the bottom half of the table. However, as Chelsea fans and with the expectation we put on our club by, let's have it right, being really successful over the last 20 years or so, the expectation we put on us, we're thinking, well, you spent all this money. We've got to finish top 4, top 5 if it gets European football. If Chelsea were to get Europa League, if we were to finish 6th, and I know you lot might say, well, it don't look like you're going to finish 6th, but let's say we do. We've jumped 6 places in the league and we're building something.
No, I'm not having that.
As a Chelsea fan...
Brian, I'm not having that. Come on. You spent $1 billion.
Yeah, but that's not my expectation. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the season, consider this ain't one. We ain't got one shot to do this in. We've signed players that, for the most part, can be here for 10 years or so.
Top 5 should be minimum this season.
Yeah, top 5 should be. But if we finish 6th, if we finish 7th, and we showed signs that we're progressing massively, then... Because otherwise, we can flip it from the other side, If I say now, right, we got to finish top 5, there'll be everyone in the comments saying, they're so reactionary, they want it all here and now, they're spoiled, they won't give things time and trust the process. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say...
But last season was an outlier. Last season was an outlier, let's be real. Your manager got sacked halfway. It was an outlier. No one's... You had a whole transition with a whole new owner, all of that stuff. I'm not really paying attention to last season with Chelsea. So I get the jump, it will be a jump. But for me, you've spent $1 billion. You've got some of the best young talent in Europe right now. You have to finish top 5 after spending that money. I don't care if it's the first season. That's how I see it anyway, in my opinion. I don't care if it's the first season.
I think the only thing narrative-wise that gives Poch a little bit of leeway is he can go to the board and go, look, you signed a load of kids. It ain't going to happen overnight. We need to gel. We need time. And I need another season. But if he finishes outside of the top 6...
But you're saying a load of kids. A lot of these players have played in the Champions League.
Yeah, I'm just giving him
young players.
I'm giving him as much leeway as I can in saying that.
Okay.
Like, you know, I agree. Like, you're talking over £100 million on multiple individuals. Like, so top 6 should be the absolute minimum. If he doesn't finish in the top 6, I think it is an absolute failure of one of the biggest failures we've ever seen in the Premier League of all time.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Because it's just too much money spent.
From the club's perspective, not Pochettino's, so I'm guessing.
I think from the club, I think that's where they'll look at Poch. I mean, do you think I'm wrong?
I think surely even with Pochettino, it's like we can't forget that he is a manager that has managed in the Prem. Listen, I'm not a big fan of Spurs at all, as you know, but even you look at Spurs manager right now, they're doing well right now, but if it goes bad for him, he's almost got the excuse where he's never been in the Prem. He didn't know what the games were like. He didn't know the intensity. Pochettino's been in the Prem. He's been here for a long
Top
time.
4 consistently.
I've heard so many guys screaming, Pochettino's one of the best managers in the world. He's the bestest. I'm thinking, well, hold up.
But you got to remember, Pochettino was like his thing, even at Spurs, it was, we gave him time and it was a project. And the problem with Chelsea is you don't have time at Chelsea. The fans are impatient.
But at Tottenham, you didn't have the finances to go. Right now, he's got 100 million. And whether it was through his choice or not, he's got an open checkbook.
But how many
now.
of them are superstars? How many superstar signings did he make?
Yeah, no, I hear you from that aspect, innit? But he's bought a lot of quality young players.
Yeah.
A lot of
when
quality
we
young
say
players
about
as
the
well.
fans at Chelsea being impatient, it's always very sensible to try and have a correct gauge when we see these things, because the people that we see writing on Twitter, right, they're not 99% of the time, they're not match-going fans. They're not the fans that actually put their hand in their pocket to go to the matches and things like that. And I think the impatience thing is... I'm not saying in years gone by it hasn't been that way, but actually, even towards the end of Graham Potter's reign, I was at a lot of matches. I didn't hear many people calling for Graham Potter to be sacked, even at that exact point when we were really...
Yeah.
That's me in the
Is that
stadium.
because you'd been beaten
In the
into
stadium.
submission, though, a little bit? Like, as a Newcastle fan, I know what that feels
No,
like.
I think in the stadium it was more about we want to back our guy and back our manager.
And we were loud
We
yesterday.
really do that.
We were loud yesterday in the stadium. Everyone, where I was sitting in the Matthew Arden Lower, everyone singing even towards the end of the game when things are going badly for us. So it's very much about how we try and handle our expectations and the energy and the atmosphere that we let off. Because at the end of the day, the anger and the sort of hatred towards what's going on at the minute, it's not going to help us. It's really not going to
and I
help our
think it's
team.
far too soon for that. And I'm not saying that it's definitely a failure, but out of interest to Chelsea lads, I want to know, like, if you don't get top 6, is that a failure?
No, not this season, no. I wouldn't say so.
I'll say yes, but to caveat that, it is a failure, but it's a failure that I'd be willing to take if there was enough there to show me that going forward we were going to...
What is failure,
You're
John?
saying
Nah,
not
it's
top
Failure,
6.
failure would
Stop
be not top 8.
Nah, stop it.
Oh,
It sounded like
man,
Chelsea
man.
or Brighton
Oh,
here. I
man.
can't lie. Chelsea sound like Brighton. I'm not going to
What is going on?
From what I've been hearing this week, getting young players to sell them on and not getting top 6. Oh, like,
Josh,
come
we
on.
wish Chelsea
not
were
having
Brighton.
Yeah.
I'm not
To be
having
fair,
it.
you wish, innit?
These don't walk around going, champions of Europe, we know who we are. They're always singing it, we're the best team in London.
I know,
and
so
then
we
you're going to be
finished
happy
12th, now
outside the top
6. Nah,
6.
stop it.
No, do you know what? Yeah, when you finish below top 10, that writes off all your accomplishments.
Yeah,
you haven't
it
won a
does.
Champions
The
League because you
Champions
finished 12th last season. It never happened.
No.
But then you
I'm
can't
having
base
it.
it off
Forest,
that. I had...
Forest still sing about winning the
You lot-
Champions League. They've been in the
You
third
lot
tier of
walk around
football
arrogant.
since
They're
then.
an arrogant fan base. I'm not having them. They're humble. You two are
Are you
humble
gonna
on
take
here.
that, Josh?
No, they're humble on here, and they're playing. Well, I don't know if they're playing humble, but in general, when I
They
speak to
better
Spurs
be.
fans,
Why
they're
are
arrogant
we
fan base.
arrogant?
But
Why?
if Spurs had ever won
Because of-
anything,
because
you
of
might be the
success.
same. You might have a different outlook on
Last
it. if
season
Spurs
humbled
had
we
ever done
haven't.
Chelsea
anything.
fans,
You're right.
surely.
Huh?
A bad season humbles fan base.
Yeah, and it does. And do you know what? Yeah, Craig, like, I ain't even lying. There probably are a lot of sections of our fan base that can be arrogant. But at the same time, and I'm not trying to be muggy here, if Spurs had ever won anything, maybe you wouldn't.
Maybe,
Maybe
but-
you wouldn't.
maybe,
Wait,
maybe
maybe
you're
you
right.
wouldn't, yeah?
You're
But,
right,
but
maybe.
plenty of Spurs fans
No, you're
would
right,
be.
maybe.
Well
But-
arrogant.
Well,
Maybe,
to the
maybe
show,
you're right,
man.
but you're
Yeah,
arrogant.
listen,
That's, it is
I'll
what
take
it is.
it.
Like, and it's just like even with the fan base when we're talking about being impatient, and you guys are saying no, but you know it's Twitter people, it's not real people. Even the people that go to the game, the ones I've seen. If I compare them to the other fan bases, I still think you lot are one of the most impatient fan bases in comparison to everyone else.
We're going to round this up because we do have to get to the super chat. Shout out to all the subscribers who are watching right now. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button on the Kickoff YouTube channel. Hit that like button as well on the stream. The lineups are lining up right now. Shaking
Oh, here we
hands.
go, here
We're going
we
to get to
go.
the match.
Come on.
He
Is there
looks so
any
nervous.
questions that we have to answer yet, Josh?
Aye.
Not yet, no, but I want to do predictions before the game kicks off.
let's
Shall
do
we
that,
do
let's do that.
predictions?
I'm going to sit on the fence and say 2-2 because I ain't got a fucking clue this time.
It could
Gary?
come back to massively bite me in the arse, but I really don't rate Man United this season. I think it's going to be tough for them, and I think today they might ship a good few goals against Arsenal. I'm going to go Arsenal I'm going to go out there. I'm going to go Arsenal 3-0.
Yeah, you know what, it's a tough one, but I think, honestly, Zinchenko gives me so much confidence playing there at left-back role. I really think he just helps us run the game. I really back him. I'm putting it out there, but I think Havertz could have a good game today, and Jesus is back as well to come off the bench. So, come on, 3-1, the goons.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Arsenal. I think they got too much United. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout like these guys are saying, but yeah, I'll say 2-1 Arsenal.
Josh?
I'm going to go for a surprise, and I'm going to go 1-0 United.
Wow, no goals.
I must admit that the thing about Man United is they've so heavily relied on Bruno and Rashford this season, and like the rest of their play has been so poor. But I just believe that can't continue for that much longer. So I'm going to give them a shot.
They're playing Newcastle.
Oh my God, Newcastle.
Look at this away kit.
Mate, I don't,
It's ridiculous.
I genuinely hate this green kit though. I think it's rank.
Is it green or is it black?
It's black, isn't it?
No, it's like a
Yeah, it is green to be
it's
fair.
a dodgy green. But
That is Newcastle.
What? Are my eyes ruined?
Yeah.
You're saying
Nah,
that's
it's green. No, it is.
yeah, it is green. Yeah, but it just doesn't look green on this screen. Yeah.
I just think the Premier League is absolutely mad this season, and I could just see there being a crazy result today that we just don't expect.
You know what? I can't for some reason. I can't see that. I can see an Arsenal 3-1.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's see, boys.
The one thing I'll say for Man United is Eriksen coming into that midfield instead of Mason Mount just seemed to calm things down. They were so wide open in the midfield, and they're a little bit more solid now.
No way. Is that Mike Dean and Gary Neville, both United fans watching together? Don't tell me he's on VAR.
Is Mike Dean a Man United fan?
No way.
Nah,
Mike
you could have
Dean,
fooled me.
he won't ever be
You
let
could
on
have fooled
VAR
me.
again
Yeah,
after
yeah.
that.
Mate,
He's
scrubbing it.
retired.
Do you know what? Has he retired?
Yeah.
Good riddance. But unfortunately, that means we're going to see more of him because that fella is so fame hungry. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he
like
is.
Mike Dean. Oh, honestly, the whole thing with what he said on the Simon Jordan thing, he knew exactly what he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
He knew it. It was opening a can of worms, but he thought publicity. All publicity is good publicity.
He'd be in the jungle. I'm a
100%
celebrity if they let him.
100% he
Fucking
would.
prick.
Kangaroo bollock.
He'd be munching that
Yeah.
pasta right
Shouting
down.
her lungs
Anything.
out. Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get on to Newcastle. Unfortunately, we've absolutely crashed and burned this season. Unfortunately,
Is it as simple
Done.
as that?
Finished.
Is it as simple as that, Brian? Is it as simple as your season is now done?
It feels like I've written a few things because I don't want anyone to get off with it. Do you know what I mean? But I thought one of the things we could start with, Craig tweeted out, was last season a fluke? And I
was worried that you'd see
no,
that.
No,
No,
because I thought it's a good point, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
and potentially true to some degree.
Yeah.
To some degree, because when you think about Newcastle, and I'm not saying I know the answer, but when you look at how other teams underperformed and how many of our players performed like we'd never seen them perform before, it made me kind of settle and go, this is our level. Almiron can play. I mean, I never really fully believed that, but our players like Joe Linton can continue to play like this. And when you look at how we've started this season, it's a huge drop off, and it was covered up by we won 5-1 against Villa. We
Martin, he's in.
Come on, the boys.
Jesus. Obviously, Manchester City, so we weren't expecting to win that anyway.
Yeah.
Then the Liverpool game, where they're down to 10 men, and we don't have that intensity and that ferocity that won us all those games last season. And that was an alarm bells. But you're thinking, it was Liverpool, Nunes, that can happen. I'm just trying to give the lads as much of a chance as I can. But this game against Brighton was the wake-up call for all wake-up calls for me, because we were so weak and lacking intensity, and that this Eddie Howe's thing is our identity is intensity. It was the softest, most. I was actually angry. I was angry. When you're looking at the players and because I'm now thinking we're giving out bigger contracts now. We're an oil club now. You lads play for my club, but the people I know and love who go to these matches week in, week out, they are paying your wages. And you, when a bus of Newcastle fans have travelled the length of this country, can't be bothered to even run. It was really getting under my skin, and it was and look, it's hard to know where to start with for a kickoff. Just the intensity, and Eddie Howe has a real worry on his hands, because I've never seen us look so soft and such lacking in desire, and that can be where the rot sets in. If once players know they can down tools on you, they will continue to do it if you let them off with it.
Who are you singling out in terms of the players?
It's the whole lot of them.
But I'm genuinely curious, as a Newcastle fan, what are your hopes for this season? You're in Champions League. You're going to see Mbappe at St James's Park.
I don't want to see Mbappe, mate. Not when we make Ferguson, who's 18, look like Mbappe. I don't want to see Mbappe right now.
But what are the expectations?
I was hoping the top 6 because look, we got top 4 last season. We're now into another competition. We spent more money, but there's some real concern. So I mean, for a start, Dan Burn is getting turned inside out on a weekly basis. Nick Pope looked like he wasn't there mentally. Botman being injured exposed us. But that midfield 3 is one of the biggest worries, because what I realised is Tonali, and we're learning about him, is a lot like Bruno. And remember when they signed Mason Mount, Man United, and he's two like for like with Bruno Fernandes, and they both bomb forward and they leave you exposed at the back. Who's the 6? Who's the guy who's going to sit there and protect the back 4? And when you look at the actual Sean Longstaff, when you look at the stats and how he starts and how often we win games and how little we concede with him in the team, as much as Sean Longstaff can't kick a ball anywhere near the likes of Bruno and Tonali, you realise we're leaving ourselves wide open. And Joe Linton, he was a monster last season. He looked like a mouse in this game. And look, the effort levels from all of them was pathetic. And another thing is, you're looking at Eddie Howe going, how on earth is Almiron starting another game? How Eddie, how the fuck is this happening, pal? And it's just, it really didn't work from top to bottom. It was horrendous.
I think Botman's a miss, though.
Yeah,
he's definitely a miss.
Huge.
Like when you're looking especially at like the back 4 and stuff, like you said, Burn and Shaw, and I just think with Botman back in the team, you'll be better.
Wasn't Joel Linton also slightly injured? I heard some rumours about that.
There's just no excuses for what. When you watch midfielders give a ball away and they go,
was that Joel Linton?
Joel Linton wasn't grafting the way he normally does.
He's normally
and then you look at the lack of creativity for Isak, and I'm like, the guy's one of the best finishers in Europe. We're not creating chances. And the only goal we scored, Callum Wilson came on, created himself, had to make it for himself. We're absolute shit, lads. We were shit. We were shit.
The problem
wasn't even a 5 out of 10. No. It was shit.
The thing we've associated Newcastle with over this last sort of 18 months, I'd say, is tenacity and intensity. Yeah. So when you're watching your team and they're not showing you those 2 major signs that, let's be honest, they're 2 biggest strengths. You can go on about individual talent and whatever, but the way Newcastle play as a team and that intensity, ferocity from the first whistle, that's their biggest strength. So when you're not seeing that, it's very, very concerning. But again, what I would say, and listen, if we did only rate things at the end of the season, shows like this wouldn't exist, would they? But if we look at this time in the season right now, what are we, 4 games in? I think it was 8 before you even got a win last season. And then look then at what you went on to do. And I understand that the league was a little bit maybe less competitive. You look at Man United that finished above you last season. I thought that 3rd place flattered them even. So I understand that it's going to be harder this time round. But what I would say is sometimes change is overrated. And actually, you've got the same sort of personnel there. You've got the same manager as last season before. And I would say that there's more likelihood that Newcastle do get it right. And to look into my crystal ball here, right? Do you know what? I've got a weird feeling about Newcastle this season, and obviously the Champions League draw in some people's eyes might not help them, but I've got a weird feeling that maybe this season doesn't go as well domestically as last one. But because of the fact that if you can get back to that ferociousness, that intensity of a side, those sides usually fare pretty well in European competition. So I think Champions League could be silver lining, if you called it that. I think
as in they're going to win it?
No, but we're going to have a nice time.
No, but if Newcastle get past like 2 knockout rounds or something, everyone would be buzzing.
And St James's Park would go mental.
It's a 12th man. It's a 12th man.
We got Milan, we got Dortmund, we got PSG, right? And if we're at our best, I'm excited for those games.
Yeah.
If we're at what we watched yesterday, I'm terrified. And I'll give you an example. I'll paint a picture. Do you know when your midfield picks up the ball? And you got your 3-man midfield, you got your 3 in attack, and there's a guy on the ball, let's say Tonali, and he's looking around. Anyone? Yeah. And your team are just like slowly to the left, to the right, and no one's going, give me the ball. It was just a total lack of yes, we're here, we're ready to fucking win this game. Everyone was absent-minded. And I'm looking at Eddie Howe and thinking, what the hell happened to what you built here? Because I'm seeing it go right out the fucking window. And I wanted to get in that dressing room myself at the end of this game and scream in their faces, because if Eddie Howe lets this start to develop, I've seen how it goes with other managers. Once you lose a dressing room, and that's where I'm really worried, is because we didn't beat teams because we were better technically than them. No. We wanted it more. And if we start wanting it less, we're fucked. Because we don't have technically great players. We don't.
Do you think in the minds of some of those players, they're just thinking, you know what, look, we're here now, we've got the big paychecks, Champions League is coming. That's what we want.
You see a hangover sometimes. When teams achieve something, sometimes, like, I don't know, let's say Spurs, when they hit the Champions League final, the following season, there was a mental hangover. For Newcastle, and look, it's an example, I'm not saying I'm bang on, but for Newcastle, we don't look the same at all. And I'm really, really worried. And when you look at what we've done in the transfer market, right? We bought a left back. Okay, Dan Burn, definitely we could do with a replacement.
A very good left back.
And he is a good left back, although arguably he plays all over the pitch. But he's 18 years old. Is he ready now? If he's not ready now, why are you signing him for 35 million quid? Because we need players for the Champions League who are ready right now. Livramento, did we really need him when we've got Kieran Trippier playing now? I know that he's one for the future, but to me, we need people who are ready for this Champions League games, and we're ready to fucking get in the Champions League again. And then we've bought Tonali, who was pretty much, from everything I can watch, a like for like of Bruno. So we don't have the DM. We've got a young 18, 17-year-old kid in Miley who doesn't seem to be getting a game. Longstaff isn't playing. We're not playing with an actual DM right now. And Almiron's starting every fucking game, but we've got Bonds on the bench who's not actually starting. We've paid 35 million for him. Meanwhile, we were linked with Maddison the whole fucking 2 years. Now he's tearing it up for Spurs, and when we need someone to open the game up, we ain't got a clue, lads. There's no one creating it. When I'm watching Maddison interlinking the play, making things happen, it's not happening. We are desperate for someone like that. So I have to look at Eddie Howe and go, what you did last season, amazing.
No, but can I say something?
You've got my support, but I need to see more moving forward right now. Like, he needs that from the lads.
Brian, we got to be honest, and I take everything you're saying into account. It's true. But you have played Man City and Brighton away, which are very, very tough. I mean, the Etihad is almost like you don't get 3 points. Mm-hmm. Brighton are just on top form right now. Any team playing them, that's a headache to play at the Amex. And then you played Liverpool at home. Like, you got to cut it some slack. These are difficult games that you haven't even got to think about now. Get that out of the way and just put a run together now. I know you've lost 3 already. It's hard to take a silver lining.
Everything you're saying was right, like, until Brighton. Like, I look at the Liverpool and City game.
Brighton are really good.
Brighton are a good team. We weren't beaten by Brighton being good. They weren't at their best. I've seen Brighton play way better than this.
Even that Evan Ferguson goal, they step off completely, come nowhere near him.
And it's
Evan Ferguson you've got a really good number 9 charging towards you, and you're giving him an open shot on goal.
Where was our number 6? Non-existent. We didn't fucking play one. So, as much as I agree with everything Craig said, the effort levels. And, you know, I'm quite friendly with Kieran Trippier, and I don't want to say the wrong thing here, you know. I like these lads. I actually like this team. I think we've got a great squad. I love Eddie Howe. I don't want to be like a twat about this. But I wanted to get in their fucking faces and give them the hair.
I'm not going to lie, though. I do rate what Howe's doing, though, ultimately, because it's going to be a mimic of City almost. And I think you're already doing what the City project was, but a lot faster to a certain extent. And if you do look at the players that you did bring in, I hear what you're saying about Lewis Hall. I hear what you're saying about Livramento, but these are good young players. Yeah. Good. And I hear what you're saying. If Trippier, we already have Trippier there, but if Trippier gets injured, you've got that guy there. You've got a serious young player who's going to get this amazing exposure.
Do you know, we just, when we are having first team problems and we are buying backups for the future, that's when I'm like, first team problems are first priority. And that's what I didn't understand.
But you don't want to go out and buy like a Robinho like Man City did.
Absolutely not. But I just don't want to have to look at Almiron. I don't want him to be starting any football matches ever again, especially when he played as bad as he did against Liverpool. And the whole fan base is like, no way can he start the next game. And Eddie Howe, when a manager does that, you'll know what that feels like. When an entire fan base is like, as long as he doesn't start Almiron the next game, we'll know that he's actually learned something. It was like we just didn't even have a chat with each other after the Liverpool match.
I think your feeling around it and your points you've made are completely fair. But what I would say is when it comes to Eddie Howe, he's got a lot of credit in the bank. And that's not credit to say that you can't question any decision he makes, but it's credit to say that it's not time to panic and throw it.
If anything, I'm worried for him, mate.
For Eddie Howe?
No, because I was watching this game going, these lot will throw you under the bus, the way they're playing right now. I'll have a lot of emotion built up from watching Eddie Howe give us these memories that other managers didn't give us. And I'm watching this lot stroll around the park as if it's a Sunday league match. I'm like, these fuckers will see you under the bus if you don't give them a fucking hiding after this.
Although you can't, buy in all that much to every single thing you see.
Oh, chance!
Oh my God! Oh,
Havertz.
I tell you what,
Kai Havertz with the miss of the
my
season.
God.
Unbelievable.
No.
He is so worth that 70 million.
No,
He's so worth
You're really getting your revenge now, aren't you?
That's
was-
crazy.
What was
This was a gift. This was a
What
gift.
was this?
Oh my God.
that's a good
Clip
effort.
that up.
That was a gift.
No.
Clip
You
that
ha-
up,
you have to
please.
admit,
Hey,
Will,
that's a pen.
Handball.
That's a pen. That's what that is.
You have to admit
You
that.
lots don't see the vision. It was an assist.
That's Havertz.
It was an
that's
assist.
Havertz unlocked.
He's such a nice guy. Like, come on.
Do you know what, right? This
Oh my
miss was
goodness.
worse than Jackson's, because at least Jackson connected with the
Yeah,
ball.
yeah.
No, it wasn't.
This-
Oh, no, stop
He
it.
had
I'm
a
not
touch.
having that.
It was
no,
worse than
Jackson's
Jackson's.
own
It was
fault.
Didn't even hit the ball
It
properly.
wasn't worse
That
than
was
Jackson.
definitely worse than Jackson's. He had more
Stop
time.
it.
He had
No,
a touch.
it wasn't worse
The
than
ball was there
Jackson.
for him.
It wasn't
Jackson's
worse.
supposed to be
Sorry.
your star man striker.
He put
Kind
over
of.
the bar from 2 yards out.
There's stages of Havertz, right? There's the hope, then there's the apologies, and then finally you
Don't
actually
get under
realise
your
how
skin.
bad he is.
Yeah,
Yeah, but no, yeah, they are.
You'll go through it. You'll go through that, mate. But don't worry. By the end, it will all be over.
No, I can't lie. I do have faith in Arteta's talent idea. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of people say this, like Ben White
I don't-
can't play
I
right
don't
back.
with Havertz.
Odegaard ain't really the guy. He came on loan. Look at what Odegaard's doing. I can't lie. I back Arteta with it. And if he's dropping 60 M's on a player, then look, listen.
I just don't
I'm with
get
it.
how you lot could be like this about a player that literally won you your second Champions League.
Mate,
Like, I just don't get that.
amazing memory of Havertz. He will
I just
always
don't
have
get
that.
that.
But
Whoa,
the
that's
thing was,
not
is that
amazing
when
memory.
when you watch him week in, week out,
Yeah.
you just get so sick of just like basic things.
No, but
that he
let me
doesn't
tell you.
do.
Let me tell you the
Yeah, but
difference.
I'm sick of it,
Craig,
mate.
you're taking a
It's
snippet
like-
in time and you're basing everything on one
Let
goal.
me tell you the
It's
difference.
We
like
had
your
to sit
missus,
and
mate.
endure it.
It's
We
like
had
your
to sit-
missus. She does it over and over again,
can
the
I say
same
something?
stuff,
This
and you're
is-
like, I'm sick of
This
you.
is what I
want
mean
you
about
gone.
you lot are so spoiled. This
Yeah,
is
they
what
are
I mean
mad
about the fan
spoiled.
base. And you're gonna kill me for this, yeah. But this is the reality, yeah. Yes, we ain't won anything, I know. But here's the difference between our fan base and your fan base. The same thing we had with Lucas Moura. Frustrating, rubbish, everyone. Yeah, he wasn't great. He gave us one moment. We didn't even win the Champions League and got us to a final, and
He scored goals.
we never talk about him badly.
He
For
scored
that
goals.
one moment where he scored a hat-trick against Ajax. This guy won them the Champions League.
Nah,
They got
Lucas
nothing
Moura's-
but dis-
Lucas
they got nothing but disrespect
Lucas
for him.
Moura done more in the league as well and
No,
in
he
other
didn't.
competitions.
He was
for
one of the
Spurs
most
than Havertz
frustrating
did
players
for
in the
Chelsea.
league for me.
You bar out that one goal and Moura
Mate,
done
what?
more
Lucas's
consistently.
Moura's last touch for Spurs was an unbelievable run. Havertz's last touch was probably a ball out of play.
Question for the table then. So far this game, obviously we've been chatting up what's been going on recently. How do we think the game started?
It's more or less all Arsenal, isn't
Yeah.
it, at the
Yeah.
minute?
It's cagey, man.
United have not had a pass in the final third yet, so it's basically been all dominant.
They have been keeping the ball inside their half, but yeah,
Yeah.
in terms of stepping out now, they haven't really been doing much.
I think
But-
there's a real lack of confidence in Ten Hag in his players' ability
Here we
to
go.
be the dominant side in the game. I think
That was what was that?
it's ironic because when they got rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the idea was that Ole was a counter-attacking manager, and that isn't the Man United way. And now we're going to get someone who can be more comparable to Pep's style and compete with these top managers. And I agree that that's what Ten Hag was supposed to bring, because that's what he did, at Ajax. But
Hasn't worked.
I think Ten Hag is under a lot of pressure, and maybe a lot more pressure than some of us would believe. Because if you look also, we're talking about talent idea. Ten Hag's players that he brought in, like. What I would say is this: we never know how it's going to turn out until they've got a good, steady run of games. But if you talk about the teams around him, right? Arsenal bringing Rice, it's a pretty sure thing. I know we could say what we want about Havertz, but you look at Arsenal's acquisitions; they've been all right. Liverpool, okay, Szoboszlai, McAllister, quite a lot of them are sure things. I can't name one signing Man United have made that you could say is a sure thing.
Casemiro.
No. I mean
This window.
Yeah, but
this window, what
I'm
one?
also mean this window. So if you look at it, right, Højlund. He scored 9 goals in Italy, was it, last season, right? He actually got outscored in less games by, do you remember the fellow that used to play up front for Everton? I can't think of his name now, but that was his strike partner. So straight away, unsure, we don't know how he'll do. Mason Mount, he's just come off the back of a really, really bad season, and I get that every manager in world football would think they could get a tune out of Mason Mount, and they probably will, but there's a lot of uncertainty there. Onana, I think that he'll come good eventually, but he'll have a similar season this year to David De Gea in his first season.
Why is Mount not a sure shout? I don't get that. Why not?
Well,
It's a Mount. Like, I don't. Why?
I think
the
if
form of
you
the
look at
last 2
the look at the
years.
form,
That was Chelsea's form, not his form. Your whole team stunk.
I mean, he was
I'm
a
just
part
being
of that.
honest.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you can't. Last season, there wasn't really a standout player, was there? Let's be real. Like, Mount, for me, I think that's a good signing. Like, I know 60 mil seems like a lot of money, but if they're paying 100 mil for Rice, that's 40 million less than Rice. And he's played in the Champions League and won a Champions League. Rice ain't even played in the Champions League.
No, and that's fair play, and it's completely fine to say that because I'm not actually saying it's not a good signing.
Yeah.
I'm saying that there's more uncertainty with their signings than anyone else in the league. And you know, when you look
Outside of Chelsea, ironically.
yeah, probably. But even Chelsea, like, you look at a couple of their players. You know, when you compare, they've brought in Man United have brought in Mount, Chelsea have brought in Caicedo. I get that he's younger and he hasn't done it as long, but you might argue there that there's a sort of similar. But I understand it. I'm just saying there's not a lot of certainty with those signings. You can't say 100% one of any of those signings is going to come in and they're going to transform the team in their first season.
What's mad about
Martinez
this
was a good signing for him, though.
Yeah, Martinez was a good signing.
But for every Martinez, then there's an Anthony, innit? And that's a bit crazy.
And that's the context you've got to give it because it's the signings that came before. Also, you look at the signing of Anthony, and it's similar to what I was saying about these managers. At some point or another, are going to have to fall on their sword a little bit. I think that Arteta will have to do it with Havertz at some point. I think that Ten Hag's definitely got to do it with Anthony at some point. So
I think it's too early to say that with Arteta and Havertz. I know you guys have been watching him, but you guys were watching him in Chelsea's system. I think for Arteta, it's 3 games and it's way too early now.
Agree.
It's too early now. But with Anthony, that's a whole different story. I mean, I heard a lot of talk about Pep, but I think United fans would prefer to have Pep over Anthony.
But are we even saying like, how long's Anthony been there? 1 season?
Yeah.
Isn't that not a lot either? Like, aren't we very reactionary these days?
I
in
guess
football?
I guess.
Is 1 season enough to
I
really
am
judge a
Robin, hit
player?
the ground running.
I think it's...
No, there will be players that do that, but I feel like some players need time. Like Basuma had a horrible season last season for us.
But you
Now
saw
we-
quality
He
at
wasn't
Brighton.
playing.
You saw
he had
quality
a
at
couple
Brighton,
run of
though.
games.
I think there's a rule of thumb, and correct us if I'm wrong, lads, but like you're looking at people like Luis Suarez. Like there's many players who come to this league from outside this league, and they need a season of grace. But the next season, if
Is
it's
where you gotta
still,
step it up, yeah.
if you see a season where it's like that, and you don't see that in the second season, and this isn't good enough to start with, then what the fuck are we doing then?
By the way, it just popped up. Sorry to cut you off. 5 shots for Arsenal, none for Man United, none on target for both. But we're talking 20 minutes in no
We've just seen a
shots.
corner from Arsenal, just to recap, where Declan Rice got the header and it went over. But, I mean, you would have really thought it was a decent chance and that Rice could have potentially hit the target there. Didn't quite happen for him. But for me, if I didn't know who was playing here, and you said two Premier League sides, I'd say there's one challenging for the title and one battling relegation. That's the way it's set up so far. Manchester United have absolutely gone, you're the big boys, we're here to just try and nick something. That's the way they're playing. I'm not saying that.
And Ten Hag wasn't brought in for that.
I'm not saying it'll continue, right? And look, Arsenal are a great team. You have to be respectful with them when you're playing them away. But so far, Ten Hag's gone, let's see if we can nick something out of this. That's how he's playing.
Yeah, but they're not even creating anything.
No.
This is shocking.
I mean, and look, it's 20 minutes. I'm sure that'll come at some point. But if Arsenal do start putting 1 or 2 goals in here, well, then what was your plan? Like, you just turn up and fucking hope for the best?
They thought with Ten Hag they were getting Johan Cruyff total football, and it hasn't come the Ajax way. Where is it? They needed Ange Paul. That's what they needed. They overlooked.
All right, okay. That brings us on to Spurs.
Great segue.
We'll get this out the way because this guy's been fucking... I've never
he's
seen Craig
bursting.
in my
what a
life
challenge.
so much. Obviously, at the start of the season, Spurs brought in a new manager. They lost Harry Kane, and personally, I was thinking, you lose 30 fucking goals, and you ain't exactly brought in a host of players. I don't know how this is going to go. Maybe you'll drop a few places, end up in 11th, 10th, and yeah, it's absolutely been a standout start from Ange Ball.
It has.
Yeah, you enjoying it?
I'm loving it. Do you know
What is it about that's making you the happiest?
It's the fact that we're playing good football again. We're playing like on the front foot, possession-based football, not too many touches. If you look at our XG, like look at it for the first 4 games. If you look at the amount of shots we have on goal, the amount of passes, like we are dominating teams in most areas.
You move the ball quickly as well.
It's literally, exactly, it's night and day compared to how we've been playing football for the last 4 seasons. Like under Jose, I wasn't too mad at Jose. You know, he had us top of the league for like almost 2 months somehow. He got us to a cup final. I know everyone says he's toxic, but the football was counter-attacking football. Cool. He gets sacked. Bring in Ryan Mason. And then we get Nuno, gets sacked. Once again, counter-attacking football, sacked. Then we bring in Conte. once again, counter-attacking football. So we just wanted to get back to possession-based team, the Tottenham way. I'll be honest, I don't even know what the Tottenham way was. They keep saying this, but cool. They wanted to play on the front foot attacking, and we're doing that now. What I like about Anges as well, he just seems like such a down-to-earth character. Like everyone that's not even a Spurs fan, when they're watching the presses and the conferences, everyone's saying they like him. He seems like a likeable guy. And it seems like it's transferring into the players.
But that is because you're doing well, which is, do you get me? It's the whole point behind it. It's like, what happens when you're not doing so well? How likable of a guy is he? I'll give you your credit.
No, but that's football in general. But what I think with Anges, he just seems like a straight talking guy, innit? Like we've had a lot of managers like Conte and Mourinho who came into the club. Not just that, they talk in riddles, but they also acted like we should just be grateful to have them.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Like,
you want to
you're
like,
punching up. Like you said, like the girlfriend that has a man, and the guy should just be like, oh, I've pulled a 10 and I'm a 4.
That's why Newcastle fans
so
like Eddie Howe, because we feel like he is happy to be our manager, and you want to feel that, and I think that I just brought that.
Yeah, we've brought a guy.
There's an appreciation for the football club.
There you go.
I'm not better than you. I'm happy to be here, and this is a great opportunity.
We brought in a guy that's coached in Greece, Australia, Japan, Scotland. Like he's come in and he's actually looking at Spurs like, this is my big stage now to show what I can do.
He's doing the championship manager sort of legacy building moment.
Literally.
And I've got a main question for the table is, why is it though that he has managed to combat losing a player of the stature of Harry Kane so well? Because I did not see that coming.
I think, and I was saying this before, like everyone used to say to me, remember, I'd sit here with you guys even last season saying, I'd sell Harry Kane, I'd sell him. People were like, no, what do you mean? You can't replace the goals. And I'm like, look, eventually he was going to leave at some point anyway, whether that's because we were going to sell him or because he was getting older. He's like 30, going to be 31 next year. You have to prepare for life with Harry Kane eventually. Too much is going through him. He was our creative outlet. He was our goal outlet. When things got tough and you had to pull up your socks, everyone just looked at Harry Kane. Give the ball to Harry Kane. Now other players have to actually step up. They have to take some responsibility. Son's been given the captain's armband. I never thought Son could have been a captain. We saw the documentary a couple of years ago where Hugo Lloris was shouting at him because he didn't look like leadership material and got his head down. Now he's 31 and he's saying, I need to put the responsibility on my back. And I just think Ange seems like that's like, I've gone on YouTube and I've watched documentaries now on Ange, and you know when they go on YouTube and they make those little like compilations and clips. And there was one where he was giving a team talk to Australia before the 2018 World Cup. And you just see he seems like that real motivational manager. If anyone hasn't seen it, I urge you to
seen it and it's
go on
really
YouTube.
good.
And, he's like, it's like where you can really tap into a player and make him feel like, why are you playing football? What do you do this for? It's not just for money. Like
Question though.
Go on.
You know, in terms of style-wise though.
I love the style.
I always felt like watching Harry Kane for England, don't shoot me, he slows us down a little bit, right? He isn't a pace player. He is technical, but occasionally he likes to take his time and turn and look and slow the game a little bit. And I feel like Spurs have quickened up so much in their pace of getting the ball forward. They're so much more heavy metal now compared to when they had Harry Kane. And maybe that has benefited them in a way in having a Maddison who switches on, right, 1-2, move the ball forward, and just building up in a different way compared to where it was like, can Harry get it? Yeah, go on then.
But again, the same question around that for me is the same question with Ange as well. It's like, it's going good right now. And like he said, when the going got tough, who you look for? You look for Kane. And right now, everything's perfect right now. But what happens when it's going bad?
Who do you look
and
to
them
then?
guys they can't look. I rate Maddison, and I've always rated him. But Maddison ain't Kane. So what happens when you lift up your head and you're like, oh, Kane ain't here right now. Where is Kane? That's the question.
But can I just say, we counter that to say, you know, we're saying when the going gets tough, we look to Kane. It's not like Kane was dragging them out of really bad situations all the time when the going did get tough, sort of thing. I don't think.
He scored 30 goals in the league last year. Would have been
scoring a lot of goals, and I completely agree with that. But what I'm saying is, say for example, if we're talking about,
It's 1-0.
Everyone.
Oh my God! This is the first time Man United have got out of their own half. Rashford, first thing he's done, boom, goal.
Amazing. Can I say something? There's 3 things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and Rashford's goal.
Mate, I fucking said it as well.
This was an unbelievable through ball as well from Eriksen. Unbelievable through.
Didn't he do it last season and he did that? Then you lot scored and did that.
Yeah,
celebration.
Listen,
and wasn't there we go.
I told you they were biding their time.
He doesn't just feed the kids. and wear loads of Van Cleef bracelets and chains.
Although he does that too, and we respect
Oh,
it.
does
man,
that.
that was
Unbelievable
so
ball,
poor.
one by
But you can
Eric.
This
say,
ball here by Eric
in the
was
middle,
very poor by
pass was
Havertz.
crazy.
Tottenham DNA. Ericsson hates Arsenal. I know he does.
But Man United
Both players
have
on him
sucker
as well.
punched Arsenal perfectly
No,
here
they really are.
in allowing them to feel comfortable first 20 minutes, achieve very little, and then with their one attack, cut through everyone with that pass from Ericsson straight in behind to Rashford. And the problem is he does have players in front of him, but they're not doing enough.
Could Ramsdale do better there? Could Ramsdale do better there?
No,
There's
I'm
gotta
not
be-
blaming
there's got to
Ramsdale.
be. I'm not blaming him, but there's got to be a
I think if
conversation
you
here
look-
when you look at the signing of David Raya. Ramsdale has made a couple of mistakes already. There's a few times when you think he could have done a little bit better.
Yeah.
I know you're going to have a massive allegiance to Ramsdale because his arrival at the club sort of coincided with Arsenal really rising and doing really well. But would that be a question from the fan base at all? Whether maybe
I
David
think to
Raya?
a certain extent, yeah. I think if we're going to talk about this example right here, for me, that's communication between Ben White and Saliba. They both go to cover Rashford's left, and it's like that. There's a lack of communication there. But I mean, to answer your question about Ramsdale, yeah, I'll agree with you. But I think the defense keeps changing as well. The defense is constantly changing as well. So the whole, come on, the boys, come on, the boys.
Huge chance! Yes! Come on, Arsenal! Odegaard!
Baller.
Baller.
What a player! Like, listen,
Baller.
done that Madison talk.
Whoa, wow.
He's the man.
I'm hearing too much about Madison.
Yeah, but Madison still started better than him.
Do you know what's funny about Odegaard as well? He's like softly spoken. He's the sort of player that, you're looking at him. He's the man that steps up to the plate. You look at big moments for Arsenal, and Odegaard is the man that steps up to the plate.
This
And
is
he's a proper player.
This is bad for Man United because when you score a goal like that, Onana is so animated, it's hilarious.
What
Unless
we
they're
We're
gonna tell me some
rewatching this
offside.
goal here. Lovely little bit of play on the left-hand side.
Great play.
Oh,
to be
one-touch
fair.
football. And that
Great
pick.
play.
This is a good finish.
Well, superb.
Wow.
Superb.
Who picks this out?
Martinelli.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
What a player.
Rolls it. Like, he
What
just
a
laid it
player.
off
Oh.
so perfectly, and Ericsson
fin-
can't get in the way of the shot.
Odegaard does that finish all the time for us. It's actually crazy.
Where
on
are
the left
where's
foot.
the centre backs there? Ericsson is the one that's close.
No, what they say-
Anana
say?
dive like it was top corner.
You know what they say? The time to concentrate is just after you.
Yeah.
score.
So Man United were
100%.
all over the shop at
This
the back
is a
there.
big problem for
And
United.
the problem for Man United is when you're relying on that counter-attack, it needs to count, right? Like, you can't concede another goal immediately after you score. You need to have a bit of a shutout, make them struggle to get back into the game, and then make them pay again.
Yep.
But Arsenal now, they'll be galvanised to fuck after that.
We don't know how this match is going to go in the end, yeah, but that shows there an elite mentality, I think. I think when you look at teams that are potentially going to be going for the league, I think they're the sort of questions that I would want, they're the boxes I'd want ticked sort of thing. Can you go behind and come straight back? And the other thing about this as well is, if you look at Man United's goal, it's the sort of thing that was not lucky.
Ben White was
Man
so-
United's goal, it wasn't lucky,
No, but
it was the sort of thing that you can't rely on that happening all the time.
But it's what I've been saying before the game. I said, they play badly, Bruno and Rashford dig them out of shit. That's
time.
exactly what happened in this game.
But you wouldn't
They
put your money on Arsenal
Ten
not going
Hag
and doing that.
relies completely on individual brilliance from his best players and not on the system that he was brought in to implement. We're seeing him play Ole Gunnar. This is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer football,
100%.
100%, but with £400 million extra spent on the team. That's all that we're watching.
Hear it.
Brian, it is a disgusting amount of money to spend, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
But going back to Spurs for a second.
Sorry.
Please, the praise.
Yeah.
No, I just want to say though, we got rid of a lot of players that I didn't rate, and I wanted out of the team for a while. The likes of Eric Dyer, even though he hasn't been sold yet, but he's not in the team no more, and just come in and just got rid of him. Ben Davis at the team, Lloris at the team, Sanchez
still in the squad though.
Yeah, but
All
they're
of them
not.
are
They're
still
not
in.
gonna. But they're not gonna touch the grass. Like, we're out of the League Cup, so where are they gonna play? We have to take the FA Cup
do rate
seriously
that, I can't lie,
now.
I do
So
rate that.
unless these players get injured, that's the only way that. Like, if we got mass injuries, that's the only way they're gonna see the field.
When you speak about departures there, you also lost a pivotal player. The man that everyone looks to, obviously, Harry Winks to Leicester City. No, I'm joking. No. Is there any part of you that looks how good Maddison's playing at the minute, and you just think, what could have been though?
Yeah,
If
'cause
he had
look-
linked up with Harry Kane
No, that's
in
the
that
thing.
team. That could be the difference. And I actually would go more so along the same lines as you were saying about. I actually think that maybe once you take Harry Kane out of the team, I'm not going to sit here and say it's better, but maybe you get a new look which is working better for you at the minute. But there must be that thing as a Spurs fan of thinking, if we're this good without Kane, imagine a little link up with him and Maddison.
I hear what you're saying, but it's done, innit? There's no point in me looking back on that. Like, we just got to look forward. I like Van der Ven as well. Like, anything on Eric Dyer and Sanchez was going to be an upgrade anyway, and Longley. I don't know how we got him off to Villa. But it seems like Romero and Van der Ven's a good partnership. I'm just happy at the moment, man. And just seeing
I can't lie.
and just seeing Maddison cook the way he's cooking right now, and then having Papita and Basuma, these workhorses behind him, it just feels like we have a balance that I wanted to see. So
Bingo.
I'm happy, man. Obviously, it's early days. What's the expectation? I didn't have an expectation before the season. Now I'm like, if we can continue on this trajectory and not have injuries, just try and battle for that top 5, because no one gave us a prayer at the start of the season.
And one huge indicator that you could get it is the same thing that helped Newcastle last season. It helped Arsenal and Man United. You ain't got Europe to worry
Europe,
about.
and we just went out the League Cup.
And that workload, it's a huge problem to deal with. So
And Johnny has to prepare for one game, majority of the season, focus on those 3 points most of the time, and then try and do what we can in the FA Cup. And we still got Bentancur to come back as well. That'll be like a brand new signing. So I wish we would have got another striker or another set of goals in there.
Take that off him.
But, you know, it is what it is, man. I'm just happy that we're playing good football again.
Do you have to temper your expectations slightly in sort of how gassed you're getting because of some, like, the last 2 games have been pretty easy opponents, haven't they?
Yeah, but I just think, you know, Brentford away is not easy. That's just not easy.
Last 3 games, you had Man United and all.
And we drew. And then Man United, obviously we're looking at Man United now. We didn't know what they were going to be, but that was the second game in on paper. That's not an easy game on paper, and we managed to beat them 2-0. So with the test is coming up. We got Arsenal away where we never win. So that's a test. And then we got Liverpool at home. So if we can get out of those 2 games unbeaten, then I will begin to get very excited. But until that happens, you know, we don't really know where we stand. Like I said, the most important thing for this Tottenham team right now and our fan base is that we're playing on the front foot and we're playing good football. We're creating a lot of chances, and we haven't seen good football at White Hart Lane for a while now. So that's what I'm most excited about. Like when this team, they're bopping it around. They're literally bopping. The goal you just scored now with Odegaard, we scored a similar goal
I saw it.
against them yesterday, against Burnley. So that's what I want to do. It's been hard watching other teams play this possession football. Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City. We want to do that now. And it looks like Angie's going to play that.
So just to confirm, is there no hope of a trophy? Like even with FA Cup, is there? It's
going to be difficult. All we got is the FA Cup. Really, we're obviously not going to win the league.
Would you prefer a top 5 finish with no FA Cup, or an FA Cup outside of a top 5 finish? Surely it's the FA Cup for you guys.
It has to be FA Cup. And do you know what it is? Looking at Ange, everywhere he's been, and obviously these are competitions that no one rates, like, you know, the Japanese, the J League and all of these places. But everywhere he's gone in, the team that he's gone into has been one of those teams that were finishing like 12th or poor. And then the next season, he was doing what Conte was doing, turning them into winning the league, their league that he's in, and with a flourish. Like, we're talking, they're scoring 90 to 100 goals plus, these teams. Even Celtic, when he came in, Rangers had just won the league, turned it round, they won the league, and then the season after, he's won the treble. Like, he's one of those managers that is in it to win it. He's not one of these, he's not there just to kind of make up the numbers.
The scariest thing for me is watching how the team spirit is also there.
Yeah.
Like, the way they were celebrating together and
after the game,
the energy. It was reminiscent of the way Newcastle felt when Eddie Howe revolutionised what Newcastle were.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like they're a completely different side when they have that togetherness as a squad. They become more likeable again.
Yeah.
And for me, as footballers, you can feel when the lads don't like each other that much. You can see it.
You saw it under Conte.
Yeah,
they didn't want to stand around and applaud the fans. They just wanted to run in the dressing room.
They fucking hated that whole experience. And
Son definitely hated Conte now in retrospect.
Exactly. and
that in retrospect,
we say it in boxing, a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter, and it's very much the same in football. And I can see that within that Spurs side right now. And with him having this warmth about his character, you'll want to run through a brick wall for this geezer, right? So, look, he's doing everything right and proving me wrong. So.
And also, we're looked at as the underdogs this season because of how poor we was and losing our best striker. And he feels like an underdog manager. And I feel like he's felt like that his whole career. And when you get 2 people with that kind of common goal together, everyone's looking at us like the underdogs. Let's go out and prove something.
Yeah, that's the energy we had last season, mate. And it's dangerous. It is. It's potent.
And we've got sprinkles of quality in there just to kind of push us over. Son can get goals. Kulusevski's good. Romero, you know, he's a bit rash at times, but that's a World Cup winning centre-back right there. I'm just saying, Maddison's won the FA Cup. There's a couple trophy winners in our team that we never had trophy winning players in our team.
Question for the rest of the table, though, right? Because we're saying plenty of teams have started well and then fallen away and getting found out. And that's definitely a possibility for Spurs. Like, if one of these players stops scoring, all of a sudden you are missing Harry Kane more. Does anyone want to say right now they flat out think this ain't going to last, and that by Christmas, January, we'll see a different Spurs where they are falling away and struggling, and it's a different story?
I think they probably finish 5th or 6th. And if that means that they've fallen away based on their form at the moment, then...
Well, that's not falling away, though, is it?
Yeah, but like...
That's sustaining what you'd hope for.
I think 6th is a realistic possible finish for them. When they actually have some tough games, they have to play various different teams. And also they have teams that are going to get at that defence. Because let's be honest, like... I don't think the defence has been troubled too much, and when it has been troubled, you've conceded 2 goals to Bournemouth. So, is that a red card?
Nah, because there was still number 6
there's one other defender, but fucking hell, he's lucky.
That was a very bad challenge.
I
think that when we look at the league this season, I think there's 3 places, and not in any particular order, but there's 3 teams you can pretty much guarantee are going to take up the top 4. I think City, obviously, Arsenal, obviously, and I actually do think Liverpool. I do think Liverpool will be up there. Then you've got possibly one. In the likelihood, actually, 2 more Champions League spots. So then you look at the chasing pack, and I think that Spurs...
That could easily be a red.
We are looking at it.
It's United. They won't give a red.
I think Spurs are right up there. I actually think you've got to look at Brighton as well, because Brighton are looking really good.
They just brought in Ansu Fati.
I know the business as well. And you know the other thing about what Brighton did, just quickly on them, they brought in Ansu Fati. And obviously, João Pedro is a good signing. But they also signed, I think it was 4 players, all between 5 and 20 mil, right? Being the right top end of it. That none of us round this table, unless you're an absolute analytical football expert, have ever heard of. If we know Brighton, we know what that means. One of them players is going to have a world record transfer next season or something like that. So,
I was just thinking, how much is Ferguson going to be worth? Because watching
what a player.
I mean, look, if there's one thing I grew up watching was a top fucking world-class striker. And for an 18-year-old, he looked every bit of a future one of those.
Hoyland, who Man United have just brought, how much did they pay for him?
70, 80 or something.
70 or 80. So then we're looking at Evan Ferguson. What he's going to go for less than him. No way. Evan Ferguson, the way the transfers have gone, if someone comes in, if he continues this form, I'm not saying hat-trick every match, but, if he finishes close to 20 league goals this season and someone comes in for him, you're looking around 100 million.
He wasn't even starting until they picked up an injury, and you're thinking, like...
It was last season against Arsenal. I remember he jumped on. Look, listen, I have my thoughts on Saliba. I'm sure you lots will share. He's one of the best young defenders in the world. If not, for me, arguably the best. He came on and he was so good against Saliba and Gabriel. I thought, now, who is this guy? He was so good. And then he scored like a tap-in goal. But even just to score, what a player. I think he can go on and be really good, man.
He was so dangerous yesterday.
I'm not surprised.
And he's big, he's strong, good touch, good finish. You're just like, what do you not have? You know what I mean?
I feel really sorry for whoever ends up negotiating with Brighton to secure his services, because he'll be leaving next summer. And I, for one, hope that it's not Chelsea. Because I'm sick and tired of dealing with them.
Let's suggest, though, like, just for the sake of it, what the price tag would be. If he was English, because he could opt to play for England, but he isn't going to do that. I think
he's going to be homegrown, though, so it's effectively the same thing.
Irish.
It's going to be easily 120 million. Yeah. Easily. Probably 130.
Because it's Brighton, 120 million.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be hard for me to say without knowing exactly how long he's got on his contract, things like that.
I think it could be more.
And if he wasn't to pick up an
how
injury,
much was Caicedo? 115?
Yeah,
115.
Think about it, right? What's the biggest price tag? Goal scorers. And he's homegrown. I think we could be looking at over 150.
And you're looking at a transfer market where, especially in comparison to times gone by, there's a real lack of that exact player you just mentioned.
And the 2 biggest spenders in the Premier League history are Manchester United and Chelsea. What are they both lacking right now? A top striker. I mean, Hoyland could happen, but I wouldn't be surprised.
If he stays in the Premier League, just while we're on the topic of him, if he stays in the Premier League and someone does cough up the money to buy him, who is it? The obvious one's Man United, isn't it? But with the takeover and everything.
We're talking about Ferguson.
Ferguson.
Where's he going to go?
What about Tottenham? Nobody say Tottenham.
Yeah.
It's out with their price.
Need that.
It would be out.
What do you mean? We just got 100 mil.
No, but Levy isn't spending that money anyway.
But Ferguson is only going to go to challenge for a title now if he's that good and it's that price tag.
He's only 18 though.
Yeah, but Wayne Rooney was 18 years old and he rejected Newcastle for Man United.
Are we going to ignore the elephant?
We're not talking like Michael Owen in his prime.
Are we going to ignore the elephant in the room here? We know we'll probably get him.
It would be Chelsea. Yeah. But I'm not saying he's Michael Owen in his prime, but what I am saying is He shares a similar record in the Premier League, which is one of the only 18-year-olds to score a Premier League hat-trick. Him, Michael Owen, Robbie
That was
Fowler.
thanks to your lot.
Yeah, but bro, we don't concede 3 goals a lot.
No, he's good. He looks really good.
And don't get me wrong,
Impressed.
it was the worst Eddie Howe performance I've seen, so that helped him.
Yeah.
But I respect the goals, man. They
Even
were
the finishes were
quality.
crazy. Yeah, they were crazy. He did his
Listen,
thing.
even Arsenal dropped 100 M's on Declan Rice. Like we know what we know what Arteta
Exactly.
wants. I wouldn't be surprised.
Goal
I love
scorers.
Gabriel Jesus, but he's a quality attacker for the team. To be that number 9 guy, I'm not sure.
And
And you
what
know,
we're
if
seeing-
Jesus, if Evan Ferguson did come in, it's not necessarily to replace Jesus. I think he's
it wouldn't have to
versatile
be.
enough and he's shown enough in his career.
Jesus
that
can
he
play
could
on
be
the right, on the left. He can play anywhere.
Yeah, you could have him do what Alvarez does for Man City.
But I mean, he has come in to be the number 9. We've
Yeah.
given him now. We've told him you're that guy. So
It's
we'd have to see.
he's just not on the level of some of these other guys, is he? So
Jesus ain't even your number 9. It looks like at the moment, boy. It
Nah,
seems
he's
like
just-
your fan base have gone to Eddie and Kay.
Nah,
you know?
he's just come back from injury, to be fair, or else
Send
we
it.
would definitely be screaming for him.
chance
sure.
for
think
Arsenal.
Yeah, we would definitely be
I know,
screaming.
Eddie.
Man United still
I think,
in their own half.
I think
that
I'd
is
put
terrible.
Nketiah ahead of him at the minute.
Nah, I couldn't.
Not in an all-round player, but in terms of someone who's going
Jesus
to put the
isn't
ball in the back of
prolific
the net.
at
for you.
all.
Yeah, I hear
His
you.
all-round game's good, but he's not
Yeah.
prolific.
And I don't think his all-round game is just good. His all-round game is so good. Like when he plays Saka and Martinelli, especially Martinelli, he drifts out to the left so much, and Martinelli's constantly just going inside.
So what
Whereas
did
with
that do
someone
for you in the last 8-10 games of the season last season when it was crunch time?
I
What
hear
did
you,
he
but
do?
look, listen,
He
it's
didn't do
the
anything.
whole cliche saying, but I think we lost Saliba. We literally lost Saliba. Losing Saliba absolutely finished us. It killed
Did you
us.
see that dive?
Anthony.
Was that Anthony?
Yeah, it was.
These
yeah.
guys get fast for everything.
Mate,
was Anthony.
mate. That's one thing I will say about Brighton. Soft as shit. They were that deserving. He's got
But
got
all good
Not-
teams
not
do that
bitter.
now. You look at
He's not
Guardiola's
bitter
team.
about
It's
it.
not bad.
No, but like, I
yeah.
was watching it. I respected it because I was like, whenever we play those top sides, they are so clever with how they draw fouls,
Yeah.
and how they force the referee to give. They've been trained, and when you're playing against a team that go down like that, you know they've been trained to do it. So
Brighton will fall away anyway. I'm not buying any of this. They'll fall away. They'll be top 8.
Do you know why I think you'd probably favour Spurs over them? Because right now, at this minute in time, Spurs playing really well, yeah? But for me to watch them, I think Brighton are slightly ahead of them in how they're playing at the
Yeah.
second. However, it's the thing that I was always banking on might go in Chelsea's favour this year, and now we're not really thinking about that, but Spurs are in the exact same boat. No European football. Out the cup already. I think when the games start coming thick and fast, because remember, Brighton's team, they've never dealt with, the games in midweek, Thursdays, Sundays, things like that. So, look, it's maybe a
Also-
little bit lazy to just assume that that's going to be a detrimental thing to the team. But
But it's also like I said earlier as well. It's like we actually have players now that have won trophies. Like people forget actually how many we've got in there. Like Kulusevski's won Serie A, Bentancur's won Serie A. Like I said, Romero's won the World Cup.
That
Like Jermaine
makes a
Banneker's won.
difference.
Like we never had that. Even when we had that great team of like Carl Walker, Rose at the time, Dembele. These players hadn't won anything.
they were
Like,
all up and
bro,
coming.
I see
They
that.
hadn't won
I see
anything.
that problem in the Newcastle team right now. Of only Kieran Trippier's won a fucking thing in that whole squad.
That matters.
And when you're against Man City at the Etihad, and you can see them quaking in their boots when they get into the Man City half of what the fuck do we do here? It does matter.
Other than
And that
Ansu
will-
Fati, who's won anything really in that team?
And if you ain't got winners on the pitch, you really want a winner
yeah.
in the manager.
You need a killer.
want a manager
Yeah.
who's won stuff.
Yeah,
as well,
at least
so-
the manager can then be like, don't worry, boys. Trust in your
got
man.
this.
I got this. I've been here, done it, got the T-shirt. Eddie Howe can't say that. So, yeah, but I'm bringing it back to my shit. Let's go to the comments, you lot. Get your super chats in, by the way. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video if you haven't already. Share it and all that good stuff. What are the people saying, Josh?
So we got a super chat from Oace. He's asked Manuel, who would win in a 1v1 battle? So these two against their defender. Would it be Saka or would it be Rashford?
Saka. I say it automatically. And the reason why I say it is because Saka, throughout even the Arsenal Academy as well, he did play defensively as well. He did play at the back as well. And I just think the overall play, look, listen,
Why
Rashford's
does
an
that help
absolute
him, though?
baller.
Why does him playing as a defender help him?
Because it depends what sort of 1v1 battle we're talking about. Is who's the better 1v1 player, or if I'm relating it back again to top baller, you look at something like top baller, is you have to be able to attack and defend.
Yeah.
Because you're attacking and defending. So overall, the better player for me is Saka.
But if it was
Saka
pure
loses the
attacking,
ball in a 1v1.
if it was
so to
just
speak.
pure
attacking,
beating your man
yeah.
and banging it, Saka. I love Saka. I'm not going to Saka.
I thought the bonus was going to be gone.
Rashford only scored 30 goals.
Yeah. No, I hear you, but Saka only scored 19, and this is his second season playing right wing. Look, listen, Rashford's been playing for how long?
But he was in a better side. Rashford almost dragged Man United out of where they were.
Look,
if we're being real, last season...
If you ask United, though, United will say, we've got a better side, but Arsenal should win the league, and if we finish top 4, it's fine. So really and truly, it's just like...
But they're not a better side than you are, they?
They're definitely not.
Yeah, Tyrone said that we are being very harsh on Man United, and he thinks that it was beautiful play by Eriksen on the transition, and he believes, and I'll be interested to see what you guys think, that Man United have controlled the tempo of the game.
I think we definitely gave credit for that ball, Eriksen, 100%, and it was a great finish by Rashford. It's just that's all they've fucking done in a half of football.
Do you think that Man United have controlled the tempo of the game?
No.
Listen, I give more credit. You guys are going to love this, but I give more credit to Havertz for the through ball to Eriksen than Eriksen's through ball. I can't lie. Like, that was crazy.
Okay, come on, take the glasses off.
That was a great
ball. That was a great
It was a sick finish. It was a sick finish.
It was a great ball.
The ball was decent. This finish was better. But against Ben White and Saliba.
Are we watching a different game from him? Because where have Man United controlled the game?
I don't know.
I think he's right. We are being harsh, but justifiably so. Like, we're not, Here we go.
How are you feeling, Memo, about the performance so far? Like, are you gassed about the performance? Are you happy with the way it's going?
I definitely wouldn't say gassed. Like, I know we've had more shots and more chances, but it's like, what are these chances we're having? None of them are like chances that I look back and like, we should have definitely scored. Yeah. So I guess maybe that's a positive, because when we do get in those chances that we should have scored, maybe we are going to score them.
There's a lot of crosses going in for Arsenal.
They're just whipping balls in the box.
But I'm not saying like... that being the way forward in terms of they've got another corner here, but if they're going to play this style of football, it does make you wonder if they will go for someone who can play the target man as well, who can be more of the classic striker, because as much as Nketiah will score goals, he's not that guy to me, and neither is Jesus.
I feel like they're having to play this style of football because of how unambitious Man United are being with their football. Facts. So if you look at the way Man United are playing, if you was to change the kits or whatever, you wouldn't be
Man United are playing like a relegation battling team trying to nick a goal.
That's what I'm saying. If you didn't know who was playing right now, and I said that Arsenal were playing, I don't know, Burnley, someone like that, you wouldn't massively go against it.
Let us know in the chat. Do you think we are wrong about this? Are Man United being more ambitious than we? Because from that first half, it has been one-way traffic. It's been all Arsenal and Man United looking for that counter-attack, and that's all. And it's not to say that that's a bad strategy. It's just not what we think is going to happen when two juggernauts take each other on. We think they're going to go punch for punch with each other.
I think the heat maps will show it all, because every time I've looked at that TV, the ball has been in Man United's half, and I think that Arsenal have had them pinned back quite a bit. Whether they've been as potent in front of goal as an Arsenal fan might want, I don't know. But I do think that the signs are there that Arsenal are going to go on and win this game.
And going back to that comment, for me, it's we're being harsh if we're judging United based on the way that we thought Ten Hag was going to come in and play. But if we are going to judge them on being a counter-attacking team, then well done. 1-1 at Arsenal in the Emirates, so they're doing well. But if we are going to judge them based on who we think Ten Hag is and his style of play that everyone talks about, then I don't think they're being that great.
We're going to move on to the Mason Greenwood transfer, which actually could still be in bit of bother. He's gone to Getafe in Spain to try and rebuild his career in a really weird scenario where obviously we've seen all the evidence. We all know what went on. Manchester United put a statement out after they'd leaked to test the water and say, can we bring him back? Okay, we won't bring him back. We'll release a statement. In the statement they released, the guy said, we believe he's innocent, which begs the question, well, why releasing him then? Well, he's done nothing wrong. You think he's innocent? Mason Greenwood also claimed, I am innocent in his statement. Again, so now he's off to Getafe, and Man United said, we are letting the player go. To everyone else, that seemed to be the end of Mason Greenwood's time at Manchester United. Lo and behold, he's gone on loan to Getafe after a deal with Lazio fell through. Does say a lot when Lazio turning their nose up at you, because they'll have any fucker. And now there's protests starting or complaints starting from women's organisations in that part of Spain to say they're not happy with it. And it turns out Manchester United will also be paying half of his wages. I think that's the case. And forgive us if I'm wrong, but that's what I'm reading. And they're also going to pay for an £8,000 a month luxury 6-bedroom villa and a translator to make sure that he settles in all right. Good to know they're looking after the lad. I just wondered what we thought of this, because it is still very possible that Mason Greenwood could come back to Manchester United next season based on the fact that he has not been sold?
I think it's probable, not possible. I think that, look, it doesn't take a genius or someone who understands psychology or anything like that to work out that Man United are desperate to have him back, you know. They really want him back. Like, I'm not saying the fans, I'm saying the people at the club. And if you take away the moral compass of it and you look at it from a business perspective, of course you'd be desperate to have him back. He's a massively valuable asset, given a run of games, that is going to be 100% profit if you do sell him. So if you put him out on loan and he performs really well, then you can cash in and sell him. And we've spoke about Man United not being able to recoup any money. So maybe it's a sensible thing to do. But from a morality sort of side of things, I just think that the uproar that we already saw when they released the first statement is only a drop in the water of how much it will actually blow up if he is to come back to Man United.
Is he really a valuable asset today though? Like right now, I know you said
given a run of games. I think
I know you said given a run of games, but it's like, yeah, before this whole controversy happened, 100% he was sensational as a player. We don't know what he is today. He hasn't played a competitive top flight game for like, what, 2 years now almost?
Over a year.
Year and a half. So, look, I'm not saying talent evaporates overnight, of course not, and he's still very young. But you still need to be playing matches at a high level to kind of maintain your development and get better on the course he probably would have done. So, what would be success for him at Getafe? Like, how many goals does he have to score, or what does he need to do in order for them to go, yeah, he's valuable again. This is the guy we need. Let's bring him back. Like, I don't understand. What is the measuring stick for this? Because say he goes over there and he scores about 12 goals. What are we saying there? Is he now a flop and we just let him go? Like, I don't understand.
Right, so Getafe finished bottom half of the league last season, and they're hardly going to be challenging. But if he goes over there and delivers, and they find a way,
What is delivering?
Let's say he scores a goal in every other game, which is probably what you would expect of a player of the talent we've seen him to have to deliver in a league like La Liga, which is nowhere near what it used to be, in my opinion. They can then potentially go to other clubs and go, look, we've proven we still have something here. If you want to buy him, we can buy him. As much as I don't agree with that, it's a bit more palatable than him coming back to play for Manchester United. But if this is all a way for them to still bring him back eventually, and for me, the worry is because of the statements they've put out where they've defended him, said he was innocent, even after everything that we've seen, and actually worded it in a way that he was cleared, when in reality the charges were just dropped because he is still with the woman in question.
Who were they dropped by?
Exactly. So
Key witnesses.
Exactly.
Who's that? The girl?
Exactly. So if they still find a way to bring him back after that, that would be a disgrace, and not just a disgrace to the club, but also it's so unfair on the fans, because the fans haven't got a say in this, just like with who their owner is. They're powerless.
We were talking about this and we set it up. We almost went, what are the possibilities that could happen? And we actually predicted what the most likely thing to happen would be. And we said it would be a loan and he comes back and plays for United. I don't think we're even talking about that. I think we're talking about, okay, he goes to La Liga, his value goes up and then they sell him. No. I think they're loaning him so that they can bring him back and play him next year. That's the way they're doing it. Everyone forgets about it. The Ferrari goes away from the story and then he ends up playing again for United. And that's where the United staff, the women's team, everyone involved in the club needs to remember the potency and the way they feel right now so that they hold on to that for next summer, because there's going to be the same discussion next year that there is right now because he's only on a loan.
And you've also got to remember with this situation as well, Listen, I've spoke before in the past about the wages that footballers get paid, and a lot of people think that footballers are overpaid, and I don't think footballers are overpaid, because one thing that comes into it is you do waive your rights to almost a private life in a way. You're going to have a magnifying glass on you, and whether you like it or not, if you're representing Man United, Spurs, Arsenal, Newcastle, whoever, you are a role model, okay? So then you can't have these things leaked out about you, and they can't be happening in the first place. And when Man United say something along the lines of, we believe he's innocent, I know it sounds very simplistic, but I'd like to know then, okay, so was the girl lying? Was she lying then? Because if he's innocent, then how does it work? Because you're insinuating that, but you're not exactly saying that. And unfortunately, people can say, well, it's none of your business. Well, yeah, but it sort of is. It's in the public domain now. You can say about cases with Thomas Partey and other players, but maybe fortunately for them, they're not in the public domain. And once it is, you need to tread very carefully about how you manage this situation. I do genuinely think that if he goes on loan and he scores, let's say 12 goals, like Craig was saying, if he goes on loan and scores that, yeah, all right, they're not going to get the same amount of money for him that maybe once they could have bought in if they had sold him. But I tell you what, 30 mil's better than nothing. So I think that for Man United fans' sake, who don't want to see him back, they should hope that that is the situation that plays out.
That's what's despicable about all of this, because I get it, business is business, millions and millions, I understand all of that. But it's like, Man United is still one of the richest clubs in the world, even with all the debt they've accrued and all of this. Like, we're seeing the evaluations the Glazers want for them, and that's why they're taking them back off the market. Like, you're not this struggling club who has this super gem that you need this money. Do you get what I mean?
You're not depending on him for everything, exactly.
It's not like it's like, I don't know, Swansea, oh, we need this, like, you're Man United. Like, what are we doing here? Like, no one's bigger than the club. We say that all the time about clubs. There's going to be another player that, like Mason Greenwood, some point in the future. This isn't the beginning or the end. And I can't for the life of me understand why they've gone out on the limb so much for someone that it's all based on potential. It's not even a legend at the club. Do you know what I mean? Like, they had legends like Ryan Giggs, who obviously we found out after his career just turned out to be a complete and utter scumbag. And they've kind of just erased him from history. Like, no one really talks about him like that anymore. And rightly so. But it's like with this guy, it's all potential.
And can I ask
like one
question?
good season, and it's like, oh, we're gonna put our whole PR on the line. We're gonna put our whole club on the line, and everything. Our fan base is turning on us. We got, female rights activists turning on us. All of this for him because he had one good season. It's insane to me.
And if it was,
and a bit of money.
If it was, and I know this is completely hypothetical and it's hearsay, but if it was Scott McTominay, are they doing the same thing?
Nah.
Definitely not.
No way.
And the saddest bit about this, if you're a Man United fan, imagine how hopeless you must feel in your board, like the way they've dealt with this whole sale, like horrendously. You get all your hopes up only for them to test the waters to find out what people are willing to pay and then go, it's all right, we'll wait for later. Because that was all just to fuck people around. That.
Yeah.
There was no sincerity about it at all. So your emotions are, finally we're getting rid of them and they're just pissing it around. And then the same thing with the way they've handled the Greenwood thing of how the whole time it was like, we're doing an investigation. And the investigation was just to long it out as long as they could in the hope that the longer we take, the less of a backlash will be when we inevitably try and bring them back. We feed that out. There's still a backlash. Okay, we'll loan them out and eventually bring them back inevitably one day anyway. Like, Man United's owners may be the worst we've ever seen in football.
I see you're talking about the fans, but don't you think even the Man United players, because surely the question has been asked, like, what's going to happen with him? And some of those players who are probably close with him, I mean, after that incident, it's like, where are they at right now? And surely they've been asking the questions. And right now, he's on loan, and it's like, okay, basically, am I going to play with this guy next season?
Great point, because I remember when it happened,
him?
David De Gea unfollowed him on Instagram, for example. There was things going on where the players, a lot of them mustn't have been fucking happy.
Ronaldo, this sort of toxic figure in the changing room, he wasn't standing for it. He wasn't having it straight away. He's unfollowed him and completely disconnected himself
you know
from him.
what Ronaldo thinks? He's like, my brand ain't taking any of your shit. Bro.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the other thing as well, like when it comes back to sort of taking on your responsibility that you do have, young people look up to the players at your club, they support your club. And what I've seen is, I've spoke about this before, and the comments that come in, right? For the most part, you're getting a lot of comments that are sort of agreeing and saying, yeah, he should be moved on or whatever. There's a lot of people who are just misinformed by saying, well, he was cleared and stuff like that. And it's like, you're giving these people more of a voice to actually say stuff like this, because the news that you're leaking out, like you say, when they're saying, we believe he's innocent, you shouldn't even comment on that. If you believe he's innocent, cool, but you shouldn't even comment on it.
You've nailed it. By allowing there to be a debate, you're actually insinuating that this is in some way acceptable. You're even insinuating that this is even up for a debate. I've dealt with big brands before when I've made a mistake that's nowhere near the mistake that this guy's made. Boom, my feet didn't touch the ground, mate. Oh, we can't have our brand tarnished. You know what I mean? Like, so they're acting like, oh, we have to do this big, but they don't have to do shit. He brought the brand into disrepute. End of discussion. You are fired. That's how quickly this conversation could have gone. But Manchester United chose to do it this way, and I think that they are like basically fueling the fire online that this is actually debatable when it shouldn't be. So I just say I feel sorry for Man United fans, to be honest, because not only are they dealing with owners who are literally ruining their football club, but then they're actually making this seem like it's acceptable.
If you had to put your money on it, do we see Mason Greenwood in a Man United shirt again?
Yeah, I reckon he is. I reckon he will.
Yeah, because you know what? I think you'll actually do. I think you'll light it up in La Liga.
Same.
I think La Liga is a pretty poor league compared to where it was, and if they give him service, he will put the ball in the net.
Also, I don't want to be that guy, but don't underestimate the amount of Man United fans that actually wanted him back. I know some personally.
Yeah.
I actually know some. I've got some in WhatsApp groups that wanted him back.
That's
and we're like,
crazy.
well, the charges are dropped. You know, let's not get all technical and have him more legally. He wasn't.
There was a
persecuted
fan vote.
So,
there was
you know,
a fan vote which was like 170,000. That was about 50-50. But that being said,
that's my point.
I don't know how many of those were genuine Man United fans. That's why
But I'm telling you, I know.
I choose to take it with a pinch of salt.
That I know, people that I know, and we've had big arguments in WhatsApp groups about this. Like, my bro, are you all right? Like, what are you talking about right now? Like, you saw, but, you know, like, there are people that have been swayed since this thing has
And not
happened.
just Man United fans, just football fans. Yeah.
It's just, it's nasty. But you know what? He's not in the league no more. I don't have to watch him because La Liga's mudded anyway. I'm only checking, you know, I already checked Real Madrid's results.
We just need to see Bellingham tearing it up.
Yeah, and they just beat Getafe, so we ain't got to watch them.
Do you know what it is? Man United fans, this is the problem here. They're feeling personally attacked over this, and they're
That's why I'm trying to be gentle about this.
They're
I don't think
unlucky.
it's their fault.
It's unlucky. It's not their fault at all. They've got no control over this situation, and it's very unlucky that out of the 20 Premier League teams in the league, that it's happened to them, this exact situation. But I can now say, with my hand on my heart, if a Chelsea player finds himself in this same situation, I'm not going to change my tune. I would say the exact same.
Well, you know,
That's the main
certain other
thing.
clubs at the table have, you know, guys allegedly that. So
But then what we're saying, and
no one-
that's a valid point. That's
That
a
was
valid
subtle.
point.
That
That's a
was
valid
subtle.
point. But
That was
whether
a
it's right or
proper
wrong,
little
or whether they're unlucky or not, it's
saying.
not in the public domain. And what I mean is not the news of the allegations and whatever. There is not a voice recording and pictured evidence, as far as you want to perceive it as evidence. There's not that in the public domain, and that is why it makes this completely
No,
different.
look, listen, 100%. I'm with you, and I feel like we're all the same around the table. If something like that broke off any player in our table, where it's confirmed like that, then I couldn't give a shit who you are. I don't care if you're Ronaldo. I don't care if you're Henry. I don't care who you are. If it does happen and it comes out as being confirmed, and I'm not just talking about the title saying confirmed or not confirmed, you actually look into it and it says it is, then nobody would want that player at their club. And if you do, then I can't lie, I question your character.
some things are bigger than sport, man.
That's
100%.
We'll leave that there, but I think we're all aligned on it. Any other super chats?
We've got loads of super chats coming
Shout out
in,
to the
so
chat.
thank you
Know
to
what this
all
is
of the
about.
chats.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, we got some fun ones here. We were just talking about it. Josh UFO wants us to sort of give some praise to Bellingham absolutely dominating
what
La Liga.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Like, where is he even playing right now? Like, what position
Number
is
10.
Bellingham even playing?
I saw a
Like, he
tweet the other
scores
day
goals
saying
like a striker.
This guy's from Birmingham. Don't forget that. And I thought, wow, mad. This brother from Brum
Bro.
just smashing it up in Bernabeu.
Not
What
just
a
that.
guy.
How old is he?
21?
20, I
he
think.
from-
I
Oh,
think
no,
he's
he's not
21.
21.
Nah,
He's not 21.
20.
Mate. He's the
He's a
first
kid.
player to sign for Real Madrid and scoring 4 matches in a row since Cristiano Ronaldo. And when he took the number 5 shirt, I'm like,
He's almost
Zinedine
as good as
Zidane over
Hazard.
here. You think
Honestly,
you
he's
think
almost as good as
He's
Havertz.
that guy that when you was younger, there was always one mate that was your age, but he was like he was a 30-year-old or something. And that's the sort of aura he has around him. Like we were saying about his age there, you'd never know he's 20. I mean, he looks young, but the way he carries himself, like
Is everyone
it's-
in agreement he starts for every team in the world? Is there any
Definitely.
team he doesn't
He's
start
probably
for?
one of the
Yeah, right
better
now, of
teams in
course.
every team.
Is there
Yeah.
anyone? What
Better
about the
players.
City? What about the City midfield?
He would
Is it
smash
Everton?
it in
Starts.
Well, who would it be? What, Rodri,
No, Rodri
Kevin De
ain't going.
Bruyne?
No, I'm not taking.
Yeah, now Rodri's there. Rodri, Kevin
Well,
De
that would
Bruyne,
be,
and what, Bellingham?
that would be the three. That would be the three.
What-
Bellingham,
Yeah,
Rodri, Kevin
he'll
De Bruyne.
take Kovac, of course. He'll take all
Yeah,
of the
but
guys.
he comes out.
Easy.
It's how look in terms of English football history. I've seen talented footballers come along. You know, I remember Wayne Rooney breaking in to the Everton side, and I remember him hearing he was coming. Like I was listening to TalkSport, and there was this geezer. Was it Mike Parry?
Yeah,
Everton
Mike
fan?
Parry.
And he goes, "There's this young lad," and I'm listening like, "What a load of shite." And then I see him turn up and rip Arsenal apart, and I was like, "Okay, he is the real deal." But since Wayne Rooney, is this the most gifted Englishman we've seen in all of that time?
It's 100% the one we've had the most excitement for. Because
Yeah.
I was thinking, before you even asked that question, I was thinking, who was the last one before Bellingham? Like, he arrived and you knew that
Harry
not only
Kane.
is he here, but not only is
young
he...
kid.
Well, that's a funny comparison there, because actually Harry Kane
was a
took
joke.
loan spells away.
Yeah, it
and
was
no,
a
I
joke.
know. But he did take loan
He
spells
was a
away and
slow
whatever
burner.
to come into
Slow
things.
burner.
Whereas Bellingham come on the scene with Birmingham.
Yeah.
Gets that move to Dortmund. And from the second he was playing with Dortmund, you knew that not only is he the real deal, he's also, barring horrific injury, which touch wood never happens from an England point of view, barring that, he's the real deal for the next decade or so. And he will be there. He will be there or thereabouts. He'll win Ballon d'Ors. He's
Foden?
going to... Nah,
he
not
doesn't
for me.
tear it up in the same way, does he? Like he's quality, but he's not tearing the league up in the same way.
Do you know what though?
Not in a Bellingham
if,
level.
If you're Phil Foden,
4 games.
are you not watching Bellingham going, if I got fucking enough game time? Like, the reason he's developed in the way he has is because he was played every single game.
At Dortmund, and Foden's been playing at Man City with players like De Bruyne in front of
Bellingham
Bernardo
demands the game time.
Yeah.
He demands the game time because he is good enough. And so if Foden is at that level, he plays.
You don't think Foden would be starting every game at Dortmund if he was at Dortmund?
I think he is, but that's
But would
he's got
he
to
be doing
demand
what
that game
Bellingham's
time.
doing? Would he be doing? I think Bellingham's a level ahead of them because for me, I put Saka and Foden on the same level. So I wouldn't put Foden ahead of Saka. But if we were to put Bellingham ahead of them guys, I would
this isn't us saying this isn't us saying Foden isn't good. I'm just saying he's not Bellingham level.
I know that, but I just think we were talking about gifted, right? That's what you said, gifted. And I think when we're talking talent and gifts, Foden is really that player.
Foden
That's
isn't
why
really
I'm bringing
that.
him up,
really
because
that
I'm
player.
questioning if he is watching Bellingham and going, if I got the game time, that would be me right now. I'm not saying it would be, but players have egos, and he has not been. Look, I'm not saying he hasn't had a lot of game time with Pep, but it's just not been Bellingham game time to develop to your maximum capacity.
How old was Wayne Rooney when he was starting for Man United? If you're good enough, you're going to be playing at the top level. Man United was a huge team when Rooney was there.
They were winning
Massive.
championships.
Can I also make a comparison with Bellingham and Wayne Rooney here? Not to say they're like for like, and neither are Bellingham and Foden, but physically. That's another thing you've got to look at with Bellingham compared to Foden. Physically, he's more demanding, he's more of a presence, he's more of a man.
He looks more like a fucking avatar than a man. The guy is just a genetic beast, and he's so careful with the football.
Yeah.
Do you know when you look at like a powerhouse of a man?
He is.
You think they're going to handle the ball in a way that's also like powerful, but he caresses it. Do you know what I'm getting at?
He's the sort of
Technically
bloke, if I
so
caught him in bed with my missus, I'd ask him what he wants for breakfast.
Yes,
Basically.
he's a beast though, isn't he? He's probably so nice though. He'd probably make you.
Yeah, he would.
You're a nice guy.
We could have a good
There's
friendship.
an element there that I kind of. We're all getting, because he doesn't play in the Premier League, we can all admire this and,
of course.
and watch it and go, a lad from England in his literal like football infancy in a way, because like obviously we watch Gareth Bale go over there, we watch other players like David Beckham go over there who were in their prime or beyond their prime, but we're going to see him literally dominate the Bernabeu for a decade.
But we are. No, I'm not disagreeing with you. But I need to go back to this Foden thing because I'm not having this. This is jarring me, right? We're talking about a player that was at Birmingham, went to Dortmund, and has now scored 4 goals in a row for Real Madrid against a player who was good enough to be at City, not have to make the move, came through the academy, came into the City team and has about 4 or 5 Premier League trophies to his name. Like, it's night and day. Like, what are we talking about? Man City currently, right now, is a better team than Real Madrid in world football. They just won the treble, and he played a role in that. Maybe he wasn't playing every single game, but he played a role. And now, he actually starts every game for Man City.
But
He's taken the mantle now that Mahrez has left.
Has he ever been that guy for City?
Yeah, but
has he ever been that guy?
My thing is,
Like Kevin De Bruyne has been that guy.
Yeah, but
Haaland's coming
because
now.
look
He's being that
he's
guy.
got Kevin De Bruyne in front
I
of him.
hear you, but
when he's coming to this Man City team, right? 19, 20 years old. You've got Kevin De Bruyne there, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, right? Older, experienced, world-class players that you have to now take the mantle off of. Now that his players have left, Gundogan, Mahrez, he's been playing every game this season,
He
right?
actually didn't start one of the games this season.
Yeah.
One game.
And I know it's only
one game.
I know it's only
and
4
Pep
games.
rotates anyway.
Yeah.
Pep is a
Well,
rotator.
there you go. Pep rotates.
Yeah.
And if Bellingham's at this table, he's going, it's not my fucking fault. I'm demanding I play. I've purposefully chosen football clubs where I will get that game.
And I know it's only
I'm saying Foden's played at a higher level than Bellingham for a longer time.
It's only 4 games at Real Madrid, but Bellingham has come to this team and now he's showing that he's that guy.
He's the best
He's
player.
that guy.
Madrid,
Bro,
he's the best player.
This is Real Madrid hype because Real Madrid aren't even the team.
Modric, Cruz.
This is Real Madrid hype right
Tchouameni,
now. They got a
Camavinga.
shiny new stadium. You
Come
lot are
on,
getting
stop
gas
it.
because it's Real Madrid. Like
They have
got
a
2 grandpas in their team.
They have a better
in
set of
midfield.
midfielders than anyone else.
Who? They got what?
They have a better set of midfielders than anyone else.
Yeah, obviously on paper,
Are
Toni
you
Kroos and
not
Modric,
giving-
but they're old men now, man.
Can
Like,
we,
what's
can,
the
we,
real?
can we talk about why though? Because you're talking about Foden and saying Foden has done this, done that, done the other, right?
Yeah.
But he was brought through that academy and a part of it because of his birthplace as well, and because he was a City boy and his talent, right? He was born into that. It helped him. Bellingham didn't get that look, you know what I mean? He had to go and hunt for that. So I think we have to just accept that there are different circumstances that they were born into. Regardless, the question that I posed was, is Foden looking at Bellingham becoming a star, right? And wishing that he had the same aura and the same buzz across world football right now. We are all agreeing that Bellingham right now seems like the guy for England for the next 10 years. We aren't feeling quite the same way about Foden. I think Foden is almost, if not as gifted, but he isn't the star.
No, but this is what I'm trying to say to you, right? You're saying we're speaking about context right now, right? So first of all, like you said, he was already in that setup. I just need to counter that point. Wasn't Sancho in that same setup, the Man City one? Did he break through? No, he went Dortmund. He paved the blueprint for Jude Bellingham to do what he did, right? And then you also got who was the other Man City player? Cole Palmer. He's gone now. So the fact that Foden, a lot of these City players, they can't break into that team. It's very, very difficult.
Do you think Bellingham would have broken in?
Bellingham would break into that team and he would break into that team.
He would smash the team. And he'd be the best player in the team.
Hold on, can I just say, when we make the point about trophies as well, Scott Carson.
You're speaking hypothetically. You're speaking very hypothetically. Like I'm talking like what's actually happened. Foden stayed at Man City. He's broken into the team. Some of these older players have moved on now. Mahrez, Gundogan, they've gone. So now this is his shot. And he's in a better team than Jude Bellingham. Man City are the best team in the world right now. This is fact. They just won the treble.
So do you think Foden is better than Bellingham?
Right now? See, I'm going to look crazy.
Don't say it,
No,
Greg.
but I'm going to look crazy.
Don't say it, mate.
But this is what I'm saying.
Let him say what he wants.
I'm going to look crazy to say that right now because Bellingham's come into this
Foden's a fantastic
He's come into this Real Madrid team and there's Real Madrid hype. This is my whole point. But Real Madrid are not the team they were. We got to face facts. They're not.
But
who are the champions of Europe right now?
Question,
Man
Craig.
City.
Question, Craig.
Who's the star at Man City?
But you're looking right now. But think
Bellingham
about this.
wouldn't be the star in this team. It'll be Haaland still.
But
why doesn't Foden take the move to go? You're saying that about Jadon Sancho.
He's just got his chance now.
But Jadon Sancho got offered the most amount of money an academy player at City has ever gotten offered, and he said, I want to be that guy. He went to Dortmund.
And
he was that guy.
How's that turned out?
But he went to Dortmund.
Fast forward, they came up together. Look at Jadon Sancho. How's that turned out for him?
I hear, but then you look at Jude Bellingham. What if you
but
gave me
we don't know what Jude Bellingham. Listen, this is what I'm saying. You're not proving my point. He's scored 4 games in a row at the start of the season. You lot have come with this hype. The season hasn't even finished.
He's just come off the back of a really he's just come off the back of a really good season for Dortmund as well. It's not like his career started when he got the move to Real Madrid. He's come off the back of a
is
really
incredible.
good season.
No one is discussed like Jude Bellingham is incredible. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this whole thing started because he said the first gifted player of this level since Rooney. And I'm saying for me, Foden is still that gifted player.
The most gifted, he said.
And now, well, I think Foden was that before Bellingham. That's basically my point. And what I'm saying to you now is, now that he's going to play a lot more games this season because players have left, I believe we're going to see the real Foden now.
We'll find that out. But one of the things that you used as part of your argument was the players around Foden, therefore elevate him and show he's won more trophies, he's achieved more. Personally, I think circumstances are what they are. Bellingham wasn't born in Manchester. If he was, I think they'd be playing in the same team right now together.
Sancho was born in Kennington.
Just to confirm,
I'm not talking about Sancho. I'm talking about you're talking about Foden versus Bellingham, and I'm saying if they'd come up together, they'd both be in the Man City team. It just didn't work out that way.
Okay.
Now, Bellingham at Real Madrid. Who's their next signing? Mbappe. Bellingham and Mbappe in the same team together.
That's scary.
All of a sudden, that Manchester City team of Haaland and Foden and all, you could imagine them meeting in the middle somewhere and Real Madrid elevating. So I don't think that just because of the players that are around Foden that proves the point automatically. And I don't know. I just feel like Bellingham has more tools to his game.
Just to confirm, are we sleeping on Saka in this? Because a lot of talk's been happening, but in terms of overall to go and have a better career, Saka's going to have a better career than Foden. I'll put it out there right now.
Why do you say that?
How can that be? He's already won 5 leagues and the Champions League.
Saka's going to go on and be a better player. Then I hear you, but then you could turn around and say John O'Shea won 7 Premier League titles.
No,
won
but
X
Phil
amount.
Foden actually...
How much of a difference did he actually make?
You just said better career. You just said better career. He's not going to have a better career.
Let him explain why. Let him explain.
Okay, go on.
What is it about Saka that you think makes his game better than Foden's?
I feel like Foden needs to be set up where the team is playing around him, and he needs to be set up with a specific style of play. I would rate Foden so much if he turned around right now. Fair enough, if he wants to be that guy for City, but people are going to say, oh, but there's Haaland there's Kevin De Bruyne. There will always be a bad man in whatever team you're playing in. If he wants to, he could pick up right now and say, you know what, I'm going to go Barcelona and I'm going to be the next guy for Barcelona. But can he do that? I can't lie, I don't think he can. So going back to my argument of Saka,
Barcelona.
No, but I think you've stumbled.
But would he be that guy? Would he be what?
Who's better, Ansu Fati
No.
or
Can I
Foden?
ask you something? It's not about that. Would he be the Kevin De Bruyne-esque for Barcelona, the same way Kevin De Bruyne is for City?
I don't know.
Because-
I don't know. I actually don't know.
And that's what we're going to find out, right? But the interesting thing about this whole debate is
With
like
Saka.
why we're raving about Bellingham is he is the main man.
Yeah.
And Foden
But he's made
has
himself
never
the main
been
man.
the main man for Man City, and we're waiting for that to happen, right? Because he's had great players around him, as you've rightly said.
Bellingham's the main man at Real Madrid.
Right now,
Yeah.
of course.
But has he not made himself the main man? That's the difference. He's made himself the main man.
What
by
are we talking
putting
about?
himself
Because of
on
these
the map.
goals, or are we just talking about in general
Everything.
in that team?
He's been
Mate, I've
balling
watched
out.
almost
He's been
every
balling
game
out.
since he turned up for Real Madrid. I'm not just saying this. His performances,
Vinicius Junior.
Like honestly,
injured,
his
to be fair.
performances,
Been injured.
they outshadow Phil Foden's performances this
I just
season.
asked though, is he the main in that whole Real Madrid squad? Is he the main man? He's not the main man.
He is now.
He's a very
He is
great
now.
player.
He is now.
No,
He is
that's
now.
what I'm saying, because he scored 4 goals straight away. Yes, the hype. Real Madrid, he's done it, and it's amazing. Vinicius Junior is still a more important player than him in that team
Well, so-
right now.
so if
Even
Foden-
Modric right now
If
is still at
Foden
the heart
scores
of that
4
team.
goals for Man City, does he become the main man at City? Or
No, but see, bro, like, let's not do this.
The
form.
funny
Let's
thing
not
is the
do form.
conversation
That's
that
what
we
everyone's
somehow
excited of
the
form.
conversation that we somehow stumbled upon, which was
a good
between,
debate, though.
which
This
was-
is gonna make a good
which-
video.
The conversation that we somehow stumbled upon between Foden and Saka was quite a relevant one for me. Bellingham's out that league. Bellingham's different gravy.
I think the
compared-
problem
and-
is though, but Craig's right, is that there's more stars at City, so it's harder to shine in a galaxy.
Oh, sorry, does
right?
Foden even start for England? Straight.
No,
Does
that's
Foden
the-
start? Oh, sorry.
not a good-
Does
that's
Foden
not a
start
good
for England?
measurement.
No, I'm
That's
just
the debate.
curious.
That's not a good measurement.
No,
bro.
but for
That's
you
it.
right now, if you're making the England
Yeah,
squad
yeah.
right now, is Foden starting?
in your starting 11, in your start, not
Is
the squad,
Foden
in
playing?
your starting
Because
11.
let me tell you something.
Penalty!
Is that a penalty?
Penalty! He's given it!
Hey, who's that? Havertz?
Havertz has won a penalty!
It's the only way he was getting an assist.
Oh,
Wan-Bissaka.
Wan-Bissaka. Was it Wan-Bissaka who brought him down there? It all happened so fast.
Wan-Bissaka.
Mate, and this
I don't feel like he
this
can
will
dangle
give
that leg, though.
this will give those
I never even
pesky
saw it.
Havertz doubters like Josh over here something to shut.
this.
I mean, it was the
Let's
only
see
way he was going to get an assist, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It's a dive.
Mate, that's
a dive.
Is that a dive? Is it a dive though? I don't
No,
think
no,
it
no.
is.
The Havertz descenders.
That's a dive.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Do you know what
Book
it is?
him.
Was that
No,
dive?
Book him.
No, do you know what it is?
But I
Book
saw a
him.
soft
Do you know what it
penalty
is,
the
all
other
right?
day.
No,
Who's
let me
that?
see this.
Oh, come
Oh, no,
on.
it could be given.
Come on.
To every Manchester United fan, if
It probably-
Rashford the other day got that penalty because of contact.
Oh my God,
This is
100%, 100%.
It's contact.
But because it's United, they probably won't give it
VAR's
to
got a
us.
look.
Right,
bro.
come on.
VAR's got a
No,
look.
it's just-
VAR's been shocking
all I'm
all the
saying
time.
is-
VARing it now.
It's the Rashford one though. You get a nudge to the knee, just like he did. It's enough contact.
No, let me see. Nah.
Yeah, but he-
Pulling away.
His ankle hit his thigh.
that's
Look,
what I'm saying.
He jumps over the dangled leg, and then his ankle hits his leg
Oh,
like that.
that-
But
Pulling away.
that's 2 times it hits him, innit? That's a pen and a red card. That's a pen and a double red card, mate.
Oh, I love
I
the
think-
bias.
I think it's
There
a
is-
soft pen,
It's a
personally.
very
No, it would be
Like,
so
all
soft.
biases,
It
like,
would be
it's
very
soft.
Question for the table: if he stays on his feet, is he through on goal and potentially can score here? Like,
No, it's Havertz.
Knowing him. I don't know, you know.
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's going
he's
to
gonna
check.
retract-
my
I
question
think
is,
so.
It is
is
soft.
should he have stayed up and actually had a whack at goal, or did he do the right thing? And
No, because
Arteta,
you know when
calm
his
down.
you know when
When you
his
see it
trailing leg
yourself.
hits
One at
the
a time,
thigh.
one at a
You know,
time.
can you blame Arteta anyway, considering how soft VAR? They're going to come out now, and it's always apologies after. Why don't
Okay.
we get an apology?
Question for Joey though: should he have stayed up and could he have scored if he had it done?
He may well have done, but I think when the trailing leg hit the thigh, that's behind him. I know it's his body. He doesn't know that isn't the player whacking into him. So I think that in Havertz's head, it would have been justified probably to go down. It's a
Come
big
on,
grey
man.
area.
Going
this
down
one.
before he even gets touched.
Hey,
Look
all
at it.
players
Gonna
are.
do-
Oh, he's going to say no.
No
It's not a pen though. It's not. Like, and I'm not
don't
just
think
saying
it
that.
was
It
a
wasn't a
pen.
pen. It was soft.
But the
You're
point is-
considering the decisions I've seen
Yeah,
given.
where's the
For me, that's
consistency?
mad.
Mate, you don't want to win the game with that.
Let's forget what
I don't want to win the game. I'll tell you right now. Hold on. Hold on.
You don't want to win the game with that.
Wait there, Josh, you said you don't want to
I know,
win the
Brian,
game.
Brian,
That's
hold
it.
on.
I want to win any
Hold
game.
on, hold
however
on.
We have to win it.
Foul.
I'll answer you right now.
Okay.
I want to win the game with
wants
that.
to win it regardless.
I'll take the game. Are you crazy?
I don't like
Mate,
what about
mate,
him,
come
though,
on.
man.
That would be an apology
Like-
after the game if that was given.
But it's always apologies.
When
Why don't
we
why
can't
don't
get
the
a
other
win
team get
for
an
love
apology?
nor money, I'm telling you
No
now.
fucking
I'm telling you
way.
now. If Jackson goes through on goal and we get a penalty like that, I'll happily take the 3 points.
Everyone would. Come on.
Can I just say for the record, I love Jude Bellingham. I just don't want anyone to think I don't. I really love Jude Bellingham as a player, like I do. But I love Foden as well. So
Nah,
it's
but
like-
going back, to
He's
that-
a poor man's Phil Foden.
going back to that on the level, I actually
glad
asked
you
you
said
right
that.
now, like, if you were going to make a squad, would you put Foden in the England team? I'm genuinely curious. Would you put him in the England team?
It's difficult, man, because there's a lot of players playing at a high level right now. Like Saka for England has proven himself for England, definitely. But if you gave me a book and said if I had to, I don't know, a checkbook and said if you had to sign one of the two, I'm taking Foden, man. I like Foden.
But it depends for
and
what team.
I don't think he's been given a fair run in Man City or England yet. Personally, that's my opinion.
Maddison is on better form and should be starting for England over Foden at the moment. No.
Yeah, but that's the problem with Southgate, man. Like, he doesn't play enough attackers anyway.
But this is,
Like, he's,
I'm not
I would play
disagreeing with
Maddison
what you
anyway.
said about how highly rated him, because against Newcastle, Foden was one of the best performances we've had play against
unplayable.
us in years. We couldn't touch him. The quality is undeniable. My main point is he going to peak the way he should?
well, how old is he?
By 20,
24?
20?
He's so young.
He's so young.
Yeah.
He's so young.
But
and he's,
I put Bellingham's growth down to his consistent chances in the team, right? Of playing.
Odegaard is
Odegaard,
so
edge of the
dangerous,
box.
man. He just wants to lay it off.
Oh, stop it. He didn't want to pass them. Oh, Nelly, fucking hell.
Hoyland's about to come on also. We're seeing that. The script's written.
I did see Harry Maguire
Very
warming up as
open,
well, so I'm excited to see
Saliba.
him coming on.
Is that Saliba with him?
Yeah.
Against Rashford, yeah, let's see.
You don't want it, bro.
But no, see, that's another
don't
thing.
want
You
it.
lot in this
You don't
Saliba
want
hype
it. You
as
don't
well,
want-
yeah.
Oh, stop it.
Saliba's cold, but he had one season. No, he didn't even one season.
Your
How long was
face
it?
when he
How
said
long was
that,
it? How long was
your
it?
face
7 months.
Was
It's a
classic.
season.
How long was he injured for? How long was he
injured for
injured
about 8 games, which is when we collapsed.
7 months. This guy had
this guy's really
7.
gone
No, can I
precise.
say something? Can I say something? Because we have to. This guy had 7 months, and they're acting like he's the best thing since sliced bread.
But it's
I
not.
can't see
It's
how
not
much
just
of a
that. It's
business
not
you
just
are.
that.
You hate it, don't you? Admit you hate it. The
Oh, of course
Saliba-
I hate it. He's very good. No one's denying he's not good. But,
But
it's,
how
but
good?
in
How
life,
good? Just so
but
we
in
can
life, it's
understand
7
this
months.
argument.
It's 7 months.
Just so
though.
we can understand this debate. Is he one of the best young defenders in the world in your eyes?
Based on the 7 months, yes, right now. But I need to see more.
So we're in
But I need
agreement
to see
then, my
more,
guy.
though. No, but I need to see more, though. I need to see more
I'm
from
with
him.
you, but we-
Like, he
listen,
need another
time will tell,
season.
innit?
Because
Time
he
will
could have a shit season and everyone's like,
Bro,
yeah, like,
he was
that's
at
what we're with.
he was at Saint Etienne. He was in the team
Bro,
of
you
the
know
year.
what raving
He
about
went to
Gabriel?
Marseille,
You know what
Player of
raving
the Year.
about 2 seasons ago? You know what raving about Gabriel? Now he barely gets into your side. This is how football
Oh, I
is,
don't know
bro.
about barely. I don't know about barely.
What do you mean? Isn't this the first game he started this
Yeah,
season?
yeah, I
So
hear
what
you,
are
I hear
talking
you.
about?
But,
Like,
I mean,
that's
Arteta
football.
also-
It swings and roundabouts. People don't care about what you've done. They care about what you're doing.
Saliba won't swing in roundabouts. He'll cement. He'll keep
Okay,
doing
we'll
what
see.
he's doing.
We'll
I'm
see.
I'm
innit? And if he does it, I'll be the
certain.
first person to say one of the best defenders in the world.
I
I'm not
respect.
doing it off 7 months.
Bro, do you know
when
that's-
people like Harry came in banging 30 goals for 10 years in a row, and
You
people
can really
just
tell
about
Tottenham
got
are
his
doing
respect.
well. Honestly,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
guy is coming on smoke.
Romero's
today.
just-
It's so
Oh,
funny.
don't even get me started on Romero because that's one guy that I'm not going to handle. A man that plays in a back three half the time. He
Well, he
plays in a
hasn't
back.
this
He
season.
plays in a back
He's
two.
been-
He
he
starts
hasn't this
shaking.
season.
Come on, because he got carried to a World Cup stuff.
Man United have got 3-on-3
played his
here.
role. He played every
Arsenal
game.
getting men back. In the middle.
Terrible pass.
He's so slow though.
There was no
He's
one there.
So
Those-
slow.
Hey, Arsenal
Lethargic,
losing.
innit?
man. Ten Hag ball.
Arsenal have that
counter.
intensity that Man United don't.
That's
Counter.
a yellow card.
But we're playing very open as well.
Where the
Yeah,
Man
this
United
is this
players?
is
both
this is gonna
like-
this is getting stretched now.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
There's more goals.
Odegaard is absolutely controlling this game here, isn't he?
Yeah.
guy's just gonna go
Such
back.
a player.
Where's Bruno?
So-
Where's Bruno? These Man United fans hype up Bruno, you know.
But you know what the thing
Hey,
with
hype
Bruno?
him
Doesn't
up.
do it in the big games.
That's why I don't understand how to judge Havertz. Is Havertz the guy that's going to pop you 10, 11, 12 goals a season? Or is he going to be the guy that helps the build-up play? He helps work the play. Right now, I can't see. He's definitely not the guy in front of goal, as we can see.
No.
He's setting guys up 3 yards from goal.
Yeah.
And is he going to be the guy that does build-up? No, all he does is pass back.
So how
I
are you
don't know.
feeling about him? Like, do you want him out of the team? Like, you know, he's going to give you probably 10 or 12 good dives this season, but maybe not 10 or 12 good, you know, goals.
I'm just unsure right now for me. like how he is still playing ahead of Emil Smith-Rowe,
I
who I
can't
rate
believe
so
it.
highly.
And even Trossard, like he was playing Trossard in the middle of midfield as well.
yeah.
Like,
Can anyone think, because I'm sort of scratching my head and I can't, can anyone think of a player who has come good and has been successful in the end, which for 2 years after he came into our conscience, maybe even more than that, maybe like 4 years with Havertz, we're still asking these questions? Because that's the worry for me, that he doesn't come good, because I can't genuinely tell you, and I can name a few examples for a little bit. Say, for example, he's an example I used before, but Gareth Bell, for maybe a year or so, we were sort of thinking, what does he do then? And then the position change happened, and you know, we know the rest is history. But I can't remember a player that for best part of 3 years we've been asking that question about, that has then gone on to come good to the level of 70 odd million.
But before we crack on with that, lads, we've got a couple of substitutions. Hoyland is coming on for Anthony Martial, and it looks like the man, the myth, the legend, Maguire is coming on for Manchester United.
what?
Martinez is down injured?
Yeah, but I mean, Maguire coming back in, his redemption arc is going to be complete now.
Imagine he
I'm calling it Harry Maguire winner.
Slabhead winner.
Harry Maguire.
Wow.
And I'll tell you whatever you say about Harry Maguire's defending, in terms of a centre-back that can score, he's pretty good, isn't he?
There was
He's
that
pretty
run
good.
in the cup, wasn't there? That he looked like
I
a
agree
prime
with
Ronaldinho.
you. He'll be involved in the winner. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Oh, stop it. I hope it's winner for us.
Covering yourself on both sides there.
Definitely involved.
Yeah, and own goal.
Oh, man.
We need to get Gabriel Jesus.
The amount of times that I've absolutely destroyed Harry
So what
Maguire.
level do we think Harry Maguire is? I'm
Terrible.
curious. No, what level?
he's definitely better
what
than
actual
Saliba.
team?
Back to Sheffield United.
Oh, you know who's who's
stop
happy
it.
seeing Maguire get bought on? Southgate sitting there thinking,
Yeah,
can't,
the guy.
can't give me the old lack of game time anymore.
Yeah, fucking hell. We got a corner ball. Harry Maguire picking his nose first thing. Genuinely, the first thing I've seen Harry Maguire do is pick his
Clean
nose.
nose, a clean mind.
Arsenal are going to win this game, man.
I like the way he thinks.
I can feel it.
He's definitely West Ham level, Maguire, isn't he? He's could get in the Spurs
do you know what?
team.
Goal.
Oh,
Man United are clueless, man.
I think with the way that we've seen West Ham actually start, when we look at Harry Maguire, I think maybe if you have a bad perception of him, that's a little bit of a disservice to them, because they've looked really good. And would Harry Maguire, if he had a sign for West Ham, would he have gone in ahead of Zuma or Aguerd?
I think he'd get in over Aguerd, wouldn't he?
I'm not actually saying he wouldn't. I'm just asking the question. I don't know, but I don't think it's
I
a
think it's a
certainty.
relegation battling.
That's what I've been trying to make out. What level of player is actually Harry Maguire? He's definitely obviously not United, despite how terrible they are.
I like him.
And on a yellow card.
Personality-wise, I think a man that can carry on giving his all when he's just coming under fire like that, week in, week out, deservedly so. I think, you're all right.
No, but
Let's put an arm round it, just
there's
go.
no shame there. That's what I find amazing about him. Is he put a few tweets out a while back, and I remember thinking, you really don't give a fuck, do you? No. Do you know what I mean?
You got to rate it.
He
You
should
gotta
give
rate it.
tutorials to YouTubers how to deal with being cancelled,
Yeah.
because this man just walks on as if nothing is bothering him. I'm fine. Many YouTubers could take.
No, not only does he get on the pitch as if nothing's bothering him, he plays like nothing's bothering him. He
Another
still
mistake.
attempts to
What do
run
you
out
want from me? I'm Harry Maguire, for fuck's sake. Speaking of the England squad, though, there's been a few questionables, as there always is from Gareth Southgate. One of them being Harry Maguire, who obviously is just being brought on here, but generally doesn't get a fucking kick. What do we make of that? Do you want to read out some of the questionables?
Yeah, I think one of the ones that we keep seeing is Henderson is obviously back in, and he is now in Saudi Arabia. Interesting one. You've got Calvin Phillips still in the squad, never plays a game for City, and then obviously I think Maguire is the last out of those three. That I think those are some strange ones. There are also some people that are not in the squad. Benjamin White, we must call him his full name. Ward-Prowse, Bowen, Raheem Sterling isn't in the squad. And Watkins is probably.
Imagine you're Raheem Sterling, you finally sort of come good for Chelsea, and then
Southgate's been playing you when you were playing shit, and now you've come good, and all of a sudden it's like. But I thought Sterling was like his guy. You know what I mean? I thought he was.
So did I.
So he's.
Callum Wilson's in there.
Callum Wilson's there. Yeah,
He's not even starting. For
Scored
Newcastle.
yesterday.
Can I tell you
Yeah,
something?
but he's not even started. It's
Something that
ridiculous.
surprises me with the logic of Southgate here, right? None of us know a whole load about that Saudi league, but would we all here agree that the Championship's a better level of football than the Saudi Pro?
Generally, yeah.
Yeah?
What? Whoa.
Some of the talent in that league is.
Yeah, but actually,
They got ballers now.
Yeah,
They signed
they
so
got
many.
They have.
big
Mate.
ballers.
They've got 30 of them. Yeah, there's hundreds of players in a league.
There's basically two aside.
When you think about it like that, I would say the level generally. I'm not saying that there aren't better talented players because there are, but the general level is better in the Championship. When asked about players he had left out that he's included before, he himself said, Connor Cody, he's playing the Championship now. So when you're picking Henderson, and listen, Henderson's way more up for selection than a Connor Cody would be. I don't think Connor Cody should be in the squad. But to use that logic to justify, well, he's in the Championship, well, the Championship's a better level of football for the most part than the Saudi Pro League anyway. So how does that logic stand up?
And also, how old is Jordan Henderson now?
How old is he?
34?
Yeah, he's
what is I'm baffed.
But you know what it is? Look, Southgate's my guy, even though I don't really agree with the football. I just think. Can I just say something about Southgate?
Bro.
No, I just want to cut him some slack because it's like it's so impossible to please everyone when you're England manager. Like,
it's true.
He just does it really well.
You could give a reason, yeah. You could give a reason for why you didn't select someone, and then that could be someone could poke holes in that with another reason. Like, you're never going to be able to cover every base. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, he's obviously picked Henderson because of his experience in that team, because he's played in tournaments.
But like, let's take Phillips for example. We've seen Anne Frank more recently than we've seen this guy. Like, I don't understand how he's getting a game like that. Like, what are we based?
Is that a pen?
Manchester United have a bit of a scramble. Nothing comes of it.
Harry Maguire's there.
Harry Maguire,
He's
big
storming.
moment.
What?
What we like to see.
He's got the pass. He's got it in. He's got it in.
I think
100%.
when you look at the selection of Calvin Phillips, especially when we're looking at James Ward-Prowse, and we're thinking, okay, James Ward-Prowse's ceiling might not be, the highest out of anyone's, but set pieces in tight matches, which, let's be honest, in national football, it's usually quite tight matches, especially in tournaments. Set pieces are so important. How can you not have, debatably, the best free kick taker, the best deliverer of a dead ball in world football, debatably, in your team over a player who, let's be honest, Calvin Phillips might not get minutes and James Ward-Prowse might not get minutes, but oh my God, if you're talking about say one comes off the bench, yeah, if you're saying about, okay, who can give us more? It's a no-brainer.
If you're the last 20 minutes of a game and you're piling the pressure on and you can't break the deadlock and you've got Harry Kane up front, you've got big, strong defenders who can get their head on it, Ward-Prowse is a no-brainer. You said debatably, I can't name a better free kick taker in the world right now.
No.
Yeah.
He's that good at dead ball.
I'd struggle.
And it just shows that it doesn't really matter what you're doing day to day for Gareth Southgate. That's what he's absolutely proven. Especially when the fact of when Raheem Sterling has finally actually started playing better and now he's not in the team.
Yeah. We spoke earlier a little bit about footballers' wages, and I do believe if you're getting paid that, it doesn't matter. You perform to the best of your possible ability. However, they are humans, and if these footballers are looking at it and going, do you know what? It doesn't really fucking matter how good I play. I'm not going to get selected for England because I'm not one of his guys, and I know X, Y, and Z are ahead of me. Why? Because they've always been ahead of me, not because of how they're playing. It doesn't set a good example.
Flip side, bro. Jordan Henderson's now in the Saudi League. Do you think he's playing with the same dedication and commitment that he played when Liverpool were challenging for fucking Champions Leagues and titles? There's no way he gets up the same morning, every morning with the same desire when he had Jurgen Klopp there and they were creating legacy. There ain't no way. So you're not getting the eye of the tiger version of Jordan Henderson. None of this makes any sense to me.
But this is what I'm saying though. Like, is there ever been a time where an England manager selected a squad and everyone's like, "Yep, everyone, that's the squad we wanted."
You know what?
These are the players we wanted.
I think you're right.
Only
There's always going to be that.
Only 3 standout players ain't that bad.
Do you not think they're howlers though? They're the most head scratching selection.
I think it's the consistency
because
with
Jordan
how
Henderson's Saudi Arabia. Like, you're picking a 34-year-old playing in, or 33, whatever the fuck he is, in Saudi Arabia. This is
motivational purposes, man. Come on, boys.
I think
sometimes you add more than what's on the field.
When you were saying there, Craig, about it's just 3 players, it's the consistency and how often this problem probably arises. I think most times there's a squad selection, we go, well, how's he not made it? How's he not made it? So there will always be that question, and let's be honest, it's a good problem to have, isn't it? Because it means that we've got strength in depth, and it means we've got good players there.
I think the omissions were more glaring for me. Like Raheem Sterling, that was so unfair on Raheem Sterling.
I actually don't think including Harry Maguire in that squad is the worst thing ever. I don't think it's the worst thing.
Over Ben White, though. Come on, that's
do you know what? That's bad if you're going from a perspective of who's a better player. Of course, Ben White's a better player. Of course, but this isn't justifying it. I'm just saying with that one example there's something going on there, isn't there? There's some sort of personal.
But that doesn't make it.
No, it doesn't make it all right. But I'm saying that's probably why.
I know, but
just quickly on the breakdown here that we've just seen. Sorry, Manchester United had a corner. it cleared. Arsenal were on the counter-attack. Was it Nketiah who had the ball in the middle there? It was such a poor pass. And right now, Man United have came here and gone, look, let's try and nick a draw. That's what they've went for. And it's working quite comfortably. Arsenal aren't putting them under enough pressure here.
Since the changes, though, can I just say, since the changes, Man United have kind of been on top for the last 5 minutes since those changes.
He looks like he could be a bit of a handful.
Fabio Vieira was a problem last game. Come on.
Who's he coming on for? Who's he coming on?
Havertz,
Jesus as well.
Nketiah, Havertz, and then who's going to come off? Maybe Ben White.
And Nketiah's pass there was so sloppy. It was really bad. Like you can see his legs are pretty much gone at this point in the game because he didn't have the energy there. So Jesus is
a good one.
If Arsenal are subbing Havertz off, they're throwing the towel in. You're not going to win this game.
Zinchenko off.
It's because he's just come back from injury, to be fair, but that's not a great one because a lot of our build-up revolves around him.
Is Tomiyasu going to be playing on the left, is he now?
Yeah, he is. He's the one that does pretty much the inverted.
Kai Havertz off. Overall summary of the performance, mate. How do you rate that?
Quality. No, I'm joking. Oh, listen, I'm not going to lie. I really reached out for him and I thought with Zinchenko being in there, it's going to free him up a little bit more. He doesn't have to come as deep. But it's poor. He had the chance, that's the player that I see him as. I think, cool, he's going to nick you those goals. He'll do a bit well in between the round, throughout the game, but overall, it was poor because he wasn't great throughout and he missed his chance.
Completely unbiased opinion on the Kai Havertz performance. No, I'm actually being serious now. I don't think he has had a howler there or anything like that. I just think you just saw there what Kai Havertz is.
Average.
Yeah,
average football.
And he will produce moments of brilliance every now and again. Like, I'm sure there will be times.
So will Sean Longstaff, bro.
Yeah.
You didn't pay 60 million for Sean Longstaff, you know? And for me, when I'm watching him in today's game, he was just there. There was nothing. And by contrast, Vieira, who's just come on, looked like a little star in the last game.
The game just runs through Havertz. Yeah. But if the game ran through him and then he scored you the odd goal or two, you'd be like, you know what? Fair enough. Those key goals. But it doesn't look like he does that. The game runs through him. I see a lot of Arsenal fans talking and they're like, you know what, he wins a lot of duels. And if you look at our first 2 games of the season, he won the most duels on the pitch. We've got a centre-back as a number 8 is what it's looking like. It's looking mad.
His stats are pretty surprising as well because he doesn't look like he's doing much. And actually, I think you told me this, Josh, in the first 2 games or something, he had covered the most ground.
Yeah.
What I would like to ask you from an Arsenal fan's perspective, though, is if the performances...
Arsenal have given the ball away in a terrible area.
Run.
There's a real good counter-attack on Højlund is breaking his neck to get in the box. And Rashford has fannied on with it and he's fucked it.
What is he doing?
Rashford, that is a brain-dead footballer there.
Yeah, they're looking tired, though. Both teams are looking heavy.
Look at the run Højlund makes.
It's looking like they're really feeling this game.
I don't know why Rashford ran so hard to do so little.
But there was nothing on those.
Mate, there was plenty on. He did nothing with it, mate. Mate, that was bad.
This is a tough one going into the final 12 minutes. They look wasted. Look at Rashford.
Now, if you're doing the team sheet for the next game, is Havertz in your starting 11?
No.
Is this the point after today's performance where you're like, we've now got to play Vieira?
I don't think it's that he's indefinitely out. It's crazy saying that. But do you give Vieira a chance or Smith Rowe? Of course you do. As long as Smith Rowe is actually fit. And if he is fit, he's on the bench for a reason. But if he's not fit and you just keep putting him on the bench, then you're just selling us dreams.
Arteta's got that problem now.
Arteta's going to play him again.
Arteta's got that problem now.
I don't think he will.
Because he spent the money and now he's like, well, if I drop him and I accept that he isn't good enough above Smith Rowe or Vieira, well, then what the fuck have I spent this money on then? And that's why, because the owners of the club watch this. You know what I mean? They want to know, well, why have we done this? What is, so if he starts dropping this guy, I think that's a major issue.
But I think if he starts dropping him and we win, Stan, Josh
well,
Kroenke,
the CEO.
Big up Josh Kroenke. I know he watches it.
Yeah, he watches it. But Stan Kroenke's definitely watching that baseball or something. I don't know what
he ain't watching nothing. He's on a boat sipping cocktails.
But you know what I mean? Like someone's questioning, what are you doing if Arteta drops him so early into the season?
But if we win, nobody questions him. If Fabio Vieira starts next game and we win, it's like, cool, fine, Havertz on the bench, questionable around. And if we keep winning, it's fine.
It's
I personally think that it shows more character than anything if Arteta was to drop him, if he thought that was the right reason to do so. Because I think that this is one of the things that does a lot of managers, badly. And what's going on here?
Jesus. Box it.
Jesus is a dangerous player when he starts dribbling, man.
Yeah, he is.
Jesus with no trim, that's dangerous.
I think that one of the things that goes wrong for a lot of these managers is not having the strength to go, do you know what? I made a mistake there.
Oh, lovely.
And honestly, I really back Arteta to have that character. I hear what you guys are saying, but
what happens mentally? If you drop Havertz and he's just...
that just proves you're weak mentally.
No, but he's back to Chelsea, sitting on the bench.
Who? He's coming back.
No, he's not coming back. Don't worry. Don't panic.
I thought you had a bit of inside scoop
No,
there.
but I'm just saying, like, he's just basically living the same life. I'm sitting in London on a bench.
Well, ironically, Chelsea were so poor last season that he wasn't on the bench.
Oh, Arsenal goal's pending, it's pending.
I guess it is. Look, listen, at the end of the day, I don't want to be too harsh on the guy. It is only 4 games, but I think you factor in the wage, you factor in he's already been in the Premier League for how many years now, and you factor in his age, it is a bit poor.
It's lovely football from Martinelli.
That was naughty.
Chance.
Ben White?
They kind of just let it happen.
Go on.
though.
Oh, what a goal. Oh, my God.
fuck.
That should have been a goal.
Oh, it was
Was that your
disgusting.
star boy Saka, yeah?
One
Counter.
touch football from Arsenal.
Now, straight on the counter.
Your star boy
Anthony-
Foden's going
How
to
many
be
step overs? How many
Anthony's
step
going to give
overs?
away the ball.
How many step overs?
Oh,
Wait.
he's got
He's
nothing.
done well
has he?
for himself, to be
He
fair.
is just begging for a free kick.
Where's Sancho? Is he injured?
Oh, mate.
No one knows.
Mate,
You don't
he's
know,
as good
bro.
as dead.
He's
How
lost.
things have changed.
He's as good as
How things have
Jesus.
changed for Anthony since his debut against Arsenal. He came on, scored that goal in his debut, and we thought, you know what, he might live up to the price tag a little bit now. And now it's just like his form's gone off
All
a
I know
cliff.
about Anthony is there's this war of, this army of Twitter fans who just love him and will defend him based on whatever they want.
Yeah, they're 9-year-olds.
But anyone
he is,
else
he's gotta
watching
be 9-year-old.
football, you just know, like, okay, yeah, you do some nice flashy stuff, but what's the end product?
It's the basics, honestly. It's just like Pep. It's the basics. The basics that he lacks are insane. He's got a pretty left foot, the same way Pep did. When you cut in and you bang it top corner, he's got a pretty left foot. It's very, very good at times, but the basics as a footballer is far too off for Manchester United, for sure. Surely, and I think their fans
I would
agree.
love to know, like, Man United fans after this, because you think about it, so far this season, all right, they've lost one against Spurs. They won a couple, but they've not played well in a single game, in my opinion. I mean, all right, maybe the last game they were the better side, but you conceded 2 in the first 5 minutes. It wasn't like, it was a good performance for Manchester United's standards. This will be, so far, not a single game where they played well this season, in my opinion.
They showed a bit of character in the Nottingham Forest win.
Okay.
And sometimes character can almost be better than a performance when you're looking at asking questions of a squad. But I'd agree with you, they're not looking at the races at all. Ten Hag signings are looking completely questionable from this window and the window before. And I know someone made the point earlier of, well, what about Casemiro? Yeah, brilliant. But he is, coming right towards the end of his career. So he's not going to be there as a long-term fix to the issues that they've got. And I think that,
and yet they've got a draw.
Yeah.
I'm sitting
No,
there.
it's not over yet.
It's 1-1, but we're looking at this going, they've literally turned up for a draw. They've got a draw. They haven't played with any real ambition. They've just tried to pick their spots while they could and tuck up. But
If they get a draw from here, I think at the Emirates, that's a good result.
Yeah,
Especially this Man United side. That's a very good result.
It's a good result. I'm just saying again, it's another performance which is lacking in inspiration.
Yeah.
And all right, the best football you played this season was against Nottingham Forest at home. Like,
no, you got to be beating Nottingham
Well done.
Forest. You got to be beating Nottingham Forest at home.
I mean,
but no, like I think the point that I would say I'm
Sorry
taking
about
from that is if you're a Man United fan and you walk away from this game today, I don't think you walk away with the mindset, even if you get a draw, of going, well, it's onwards and upwards from here.
what are we saying about this
terrible.
shot from Saka when
terrible.
they did play that beautiful
Yeah, it was
football?
poor.
You've been singing his praises, comparing him to Phil Foden, Bellingham. Is that up there?
Hey,
Listen.
listen, it happens,
Foden
innit?
puts that top corner.
Foden's on the bench screaming, holler at Alan boy in the top corner.
Guys, can we just
I
say
love
Johnny
Saka, though.
Evans, academy product, is coming on
Good on him.
for Man United.
Do you know what? I can't
better than Lindelof.
Look, saying
Oh,
that,
and people say that Man United haven't progressed.
I know, but saying that about United, at the end
Johnny
of the day,
Evans and
look,
Maguire at the back.
touching on what you said, Brian, it is 4 games which they haven't been the greatest, but they've pulled through the results. And even this game here, as a United fan, look, listen, they could have played better, but in their defence, it's coming to the Emirates where they haven't been so great, and they could potentially leave with a point. So it's not looking that bad for them, like really and truly.
It's blowing my mind, right? Because if Newcastle were playing with Johnny Evans and Maguire in defence, I'd think, what the fuck is this? And yet, here they are, getting a point at the Emirates. So, in a sense, it's working. But you also are looking for, where the fuck is this going? And, again, if
Maybe it's something to build on,
if
though.
Rashford or Bruno Fernandes don't turn it on, Man United look completely out of ideas and that nothing else is going to happen. That's it. And
100%.
again, it comes back to everything we've been saying in the recent episodes of what is the plan, Ten Hag? Is the plan to try and defend a bit better and rely on Rashford and Bruno Fernandes to score a goal and create it all on their own between the two of them? Cool. That's what's happening then. Because I'm not seeing a team of Ten Hag ball developing at all here.
I think for a fan...
400 million spent, by the way, just to put on...
Yeah.
400 million. He spent more net spend than Jurgen Klopp has at Liverpool in one fucking year.
I think the point you mentioned there, for a fan, that's the bit that's hard, because sometimes you can bear with results not going your way, performances not going your way, if you know what they're trying to do. So a long time, Arteta was backed by the Arsenal fans, and I used to think, why do they just blindly back this fella when he hasn't really delivered? And obviously context is everything, and things come to light. And now you look at it and you go, do you know what? They could probably see the style of football was developing. They could probably see what he wanted. And now it looks like, and I still won't say it has just yet, but it looks like it's coming to fruition. So fair play on them. With Man United and, with Chelsea in the past and a lot of these teams, you can't really see what they're trying to do. And that's the problem here. And that's what is massively disheartening if that is your club.
And let's be real here. I mean, Man United versus Arsenal, it's a hugely important rivalry to both sets of fans. And as much as Man United fans after this game, if the point stands, we're in the last 5 minutes now, a point's good. But Man United fans deep down will go, we've went to their house and really not even look like... winning the game is a part of the plan.
But the stats
there you
are
go.
very
Here
tight.
we go. Hoyland running through.
He needs help.
Let's see what Hoyland can do. Hey, cut inside.
Oh!
No penalty given. He went down.
It was good defending.
I'll give Hoyland credit though. He made the most out of what he had there. He tried to cause some problems.
What was it, 3v2? Arsenal had 3 players back.
These players are looking heavy.
Can I say something? The stats are tight though.
They're
it's
even.
Like 50-50 possession, like 10, 14 shots each, both 420.
It doesn't look like that though to the eye, does it?
The second half has opened up.
Yeah,
Again,
leveled
fairness
up.
to United, it really has. The second half has opened up.
If this does end a draw, are Arsenal coming away from this game thinking it's 2 points drop massively? Because you look at the performance against Fulham, obviously even early on against Nottingham Forest, they didn't look great,
Well,
so
all the predictions, everyone around the table now said that this was going to be a walk in the park for
I said
Arsenal.
2-1.
yeah.
Okay.
I said a draw.
He said a draw.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie though. Do you know what I've taken from this game? And I know it's early days. But Man City are winning 4 in a row.
Oh, bro.
That's what I'm taking away from this
mad.
game.
Easy,
That's all I'm
easy.
I
taking
think
away.
that's- I
'Cause they
think
haven't even
that's
kicked
guaranteed.
into gear yet.
Do you know what makes me laugh, right? It's Josh before the Nottingham Forest Chelsea game put on that we were doing the game this weekend, and he went hoping for a draw as if that would help Chelsea, and then they go and lose to Forest.
Yeah, I don't think we're on these lots' radar at the minute.
Hoyland.
Oh, he's still on goal.
He's offside.
Is he?
Manchester
Just put it
United
away,
to
though.
make it 2-1. It's 2-1.
Offside.
Oh
think
my
he was.
God, go natural.
Oh my God, is he offside?
Oh my
No,
God.
is he not offside?
After
Is he
completing
not
all the
offside?
domination
Can
from
I just say
Arsenal.
something? If he's not,
is.
watch the pass. He is. If he's not, watch the
Oh
pass
my
from
God.
Hoyland.
If he's not, if he's not.
Oh,
Watch the
my
pass
God.
from Hoyland. though.
Heartbroken.
Yeah, I know.
Watch the
Mate.
pass. Did you see the pass
did.
from Hoyland? Did
I
you
did.
see that?
Yeah,
though?
yeah,
Mate,
back
Man United fans are going mental.
Get ready
It
for the
looks-
comments on all of this stream,
Hey, I
on
rate
all of the videos.
Hold on,
Mate,
VAR's
mate.
not there. Is VAR there yet? We need
Mate,
to wait for
bro,
the
There was
VAR.
only one person that
I'll-
predicted Man United win. Just
There won't be.
saying.
We got to wait for the VAR.
Just saying.
We got to wait for the VAR.
I'll
though.
hold my hands up because fucking hell.
You said VAR. Where's is the VAR coming?
It's
VAR.
coming. It's
Yeah, VAR's
100% coming.
Oh, is he definitely
I
offside?
think it did look off.
Okay.
He's celebrating
looked
as
it,
if
I can't
he's
lie.
He needs to relax. Why is he still celebrating, bro? Relax. Just wait for the VAR, man. Like,
I do
what are you
actually.
doing?
chuffed.
Do you know what's
You're
funny?
doing too much, bro.
In terms of Garnacho,
Let's see,
I
let's
do
see.
rate him as a player.
Hoyland went mad here. Hoyland went mad here. Oh,
Oh
safe.
my God, he's not.
Nah,
Oh my God.
that's
Oh,
tight,
that is
guys.
so tight.
That is tight.
That is tight.
That is-
so
I don't
tight.
think
I
he's
reckon this is going to be a shoulder off.
I don't think he's off.
I don't think he is.
He's off.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Looks like he's probably off just. Do you know what? He actually plays for it though. The defender does, and he's got him off.
He's off.
He's off. Fuck me.
There
So
you
why
go.
was you doing all that celebration?
I must
Thank
There
admit.
you go.
God, oh my God, I was sweating because I was sweating.
Garnacho
I couldn't have it.
celebrating for half
I couldn't
an hour
have.
there.
Nah, stop it, man. Hey, man, go
He's
sit on
an
the
idiot.
bench, Garnacho.
Mate,
He's an actual idiot.
Garnacho's just.
He's thinking, if I celebrate enough, they'll just believe it.
the Richarlison.
Hey, nah, again, look, listen, big up
Manifesting
to
it.
United's new striker, though, because that was a naughty
That was a
little
lovely flick
That was
from,
a naughty
Hoyland,
little flick.
right.
So big up, listen, it was naughty. And he
Now
showed,
he's saying
listen,
you could have given me an angle on the pass.
he showed good composure, to be fair, with the finish. To be in through last minutes against Arsenal and pop it away like that. Credit to him. But
if Man United took 3 points out of this game after
Fucking
playing
hell.
as shit as
I'm
they
gonna
have
be real,
for the last
Arsenal
4
caught
matches,
light.
that would blow my mind.
yeah, I'd been heartbroken, mate.
I've always said I think Man United are going to have a good season.
Have you? This is the thing. I'll have to clip this shit up.
Oh, no,
Otherwise
yeah.
people believe you. To be fair, Man United are saying they have players who can be dangerous, but that would have been an injustice.
We were told we've been bashing them completely. Is there credit to give them here? I think they've held out for long enough, and if they can accept that maybe they haven't got the exact same personnel performing to the same level as Arsenal, and they do go on, there's still time in this game to go on and get a winner. But even if they get a point here and they've shown a bit of threat and they've grown into the game a little bit, I'd still say Arsenal perform better. But you've got to sort of go with them and say, all right, fair play.
I feel like this is a fair result. Though. If it does end 1-1, it probably is fair.
8 minutes extra time.
Whoever goes on
There's a
and
winner.
wins now, listen.
There's a winner. There's a winner in this.
I think
100%.
United are coming out of this game way happier than Arsenal.
Yeah, I would
They'd
agree.
be chuffed with this result.
Not if Arsenal get a late winner, they're not. Then there will be absolute heartbreak because they'll feel injustice because of the offside, VAR and whatnot.
I
If
just
Arsenal
love
go
all
on
of
to
this.
win
This
this.
is just a win-win. I'm just so happy. Like someone's dropping points regardless. Like I just love this.
Hey, listen, you got to give it like 2 months and bring me back. So when Tottenham have hopefully
But
fallen
we
again.
had no expectations this season. All of this
There's
is
got to
just
be
a
some
free hit.
expectations.
This is a free hit,
because
bro.
if you start dropping down bottom table,
No, but we're not going to drop bottom table. Let's be real. No, we won't. I believe in Ange that
Oh,
much.
what
that we
the
won't drop
fuck
bottom
was
table.
that from Rice?
But Spurs aren't even your biggest rivals anymore, mate, are they? Like, you're not even worried
they're not.
about Spurs.
No, you're not worried about us. That's what I'm saying. We're in a rebuild, man.
Yeah.
From a Chelsea perspective, I'd rather Man United drop the points because they're going to be closer to us.
I think that's logical, yeah.
And that's why I was also happy that Burnley dropped points yesterday.
What about from a Newcastle perspective, Brian? Who would you rather have won this game?
I don't think it matters. I think after this week,
Don't mention Newcastle. He was all right there for a minute.
I was happy. I was enjoying Craig's vibes.
Cheers,
you know?
John.
This is filling me with hope for when we go here in a couple of weeks, though, the Emirates.
Yeah,
Because we're usually
I
pants
think
at the Emirates.
the thing that Manchester United have shown as a blueprint here is, and look, to be fair, Fulham did a good job also of how you nullify some of the strengths of Arsenal is by not being overly ambitious as well. Like you have to be so tight and make sure that you're not taking too many risks and giving them the space to play in between the lines and getting behind you. And I think Manchester, like Ten Hag's probably looked at that Fulham game and thought, okay, we'll do the same thing, but hopefully punish you even harder because Fulham, again, even with 10 men, nearly made it 3-2 in the last minute against Arsenal. So
Man United look on top right now, you know.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
they're still
They look more
pressing us.
hungry. Yeah, they're pressing.
Still person.
they've come back to life, haven't they, now that the goals
Yeah.
giving them a bit of juice.
I love Christian Eriksen. He's a good player.
Yeah, he was putting on a heart monitor there. I was just having a quick look at what he was doing. He had a
Yeah.
chest mount heart monitor.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
just putting it back on.
Can we speak about Bruno as well? Because I'm telling you, he's on fraud watch. I'm telling you.
On fraud.
Well, not fraud watch. Like he's a good player, but these big games he doesn't show up.
I was going to say, we
He
haven't
doesn't
seen him.
show up.
We haven't seen him.
He goes Casper.
Yeah, Bruno's the type of player that against Nottingham Forest will absolutely run the show and
Yes.
dominate, and the whole of Manchester United Twitter will let you know he's the best player in world football. But yeah, sometimes in these games you do scratch your head and wonder, what the fuck? Yeah. But I personally think he's of that level, like in terms of ability-wise.
Nah, he's a baller.
He's also sometimes lacking players around him, I think, to... Like, as I say, when I watch it, it's like, it's Rashford and fucking Bruno. Who else are we... There's no one else.
Which is why I always thought, I can't lie, I thought United were going to get Kane. And I thought if you added Kane to that mix, then with a ball playing keeper, which is obviously what Ten Hag's been wanting, I thought that is dangerous.
Do we have to give Ten Hag
That's a foul,
credit
come on.
today for the way that he's played this game? And effectively,
for
they
Arsenal?
could have nicked a win.
Oh
that
my
is
God, that's
terrible.
such a set-up
Arsenal
pass.
are so sloppy. at
Look
the
at
final
Bruno
third.
now. He's always falling, bro.
He's just gone down
He's
like
just
he's been
always
shot.
falling.
Oh, look at this.
Big
Reece
chance.
Nelson.
Nelson, cross in.
One of them
Oh, that
players,
is
he's a
poor.
lot-
Oh, bad
Here we go.
touch.
Terrible touch.
Nelson
The touches
again?
Arsenal
Evans.
are taking are shocking.
Oh my God, he looks... Oh my
Bro,
days.
Arsenal are playing like they've got the boots on the wrong foot.
Both of these teams.
Yeah.
at
Yeah, no,
times
both
have
of us.
looked like
I
they
felt
shit
we've
the
looked
bed
heavy. Both teams look so heavy
Yeah.
going into the dying moments. It's mad.
It's weird because they have all of that time and space in the final third, Arsenal. And I think there's questions need to be asked of why didn't we win this game? Because it's so there for them so many times. And it's that final pass.
If you're an Arsenal fan, it's a shame because if they hadn't have dropped points against Fulham, you'd look at this result and you go, it's not too
the worst,
bad,
no.
Man United. But considering you've dropped points against Fulham,
And City have won 4 out of 4.
This ain't over yet. I don't know what you lot are saying.
Yeah, it's not over.
This has got a feel about a last minute winner on it.
Makeda.
I hope I'm wrong though. By the way, I want a draw.
That guy's made a living off of that goal. Fuck me. It feels the tension's there. Like
3 minutes and 10 seconds left.
It has been a bit of a seesaw though. At times you've had Man United pinning them back in this second half, and now Arsenal. It's got a lot more competitive as the game's gone on, I think. And I think Man United have actually, in a way, managed the game quite well.
That is
man.
a bit poor. You want it to be the
Oh
guy.
my God.
Is it a corner? Yes, I think it looks like it's a corner.
Really?
Yeah.
Header, last minute header. What are we saying?
Nah, it can't be.
It looked like he smashed it over the bar.
It must be.
Man United, man. If they focused after that first goal from Rashford just for like 5-10 minutes, they could have been frustrating.
Yeah. And they were a shoulder away from getting that second goal as well.
Ooh. Gabriel header, watch.
He's free.
Gabriel header.
Cross in from the corner. Huge
he's got
chance.
space.
Smashes it.
Declan
Rice! Oh my God!
And
The
that's what
sweep! Come on! They gave him all fucking dick.
That's why he's 100 million.
They gave him a half an hour.
What a player.
Why did nobody close him down?
That is crazy.
Why did
Because they're thinking it's right.
That's a big goal.
They gave Declan Rice a half a fucking hour to hit that.
Was there a foul? Was there a foul?
No,
or
there
was
wasn't.
the players
Stop
coming
it,
out?
I'm not joking.
Was there
He's
a
going to
foul?
start
There
saying
wasn't.
Havertz on the bench
Was
was fouling
there a foul?
someone. Stop it. I'm not having it.
Was there a foul?
Come on,
here?
Rice.
There wasn't.
Let's have a look at it.
Oh my God. Scenes, mate. Put me in the Emirates now.
I actually feel for
big
Man United
goal.
fans because they were home and dry
They
there.
were.
Craig, you called it.
I said there would be a goal. I said Gabriel.
Hey,
but I said there would be a goal. I'm not lying.
Yeah.
I felt it. It just didn't look like it was over.
Well predicted, mate.
Aye, Rice, man. Aye.
That's a big goal.
Oh my God.
There's no question
Watch-
of VR.
But you're right,
Watch
though.
the
They didn't-
no,
look at
watch
him,
the
he's just-
holding on.
he's chilling in
Watch
space,
the holding
though.
on here.
Oh
Watch the
my
holding
days.
on here.
Oh my, that
he was the
reminds
one
me of
holding on.
Zidane
Can we just
against
say-
Bayer Leverkusen.
Oh, Nana. That ain't it, mate. You got beaten at your near post. I'm not being funny.
It's a deflection.
Oh, was it Johnny Evans? Was it
Johnny Evans' deflection?
I knew I loved Johnny Evans. What a guy.
I still think Onana should save this. Like,
Oh,
That was so fluky, that goal as well, though.
I love
It's
them
at the
once.
perfect
Last
height.
minute, I love them.
Do you know
I'll
what?
take them all day.
Man United, the one thing I will say is they've had a lot of luck
Go
in
on,
these last few
Arteta.
games. This was coming.
Yeah,
They,
it was
they have
coming, it was
been treading on treacle, man.
And people can say what they want about our performance against Fulham, but you actually look at, again, for people who do like XG, we absolutely dominated them.
yeah.
The 2 goals that they scored were literally Saka passing it back to the keeper. I love you, Saka, but you did. And then another mistake by Zinchenko. It was coming.
It was the mental issue of switching off towards the end of the game that worried me. But in this game, you just haven't done that. But to be fair, Man United had chances as well. Like that.
I just now keep thinking back to Josh saying you wouldn't want to win it like that. And now they've won it like this. I'm like,
Oh my God.
All right, we was laughing. Maybe he was right.
I'll take it like this.
No,
all game.
Nothing
take
like
it
Josh
all
to talk
day.
about what another football club would want and
Yeah.
wouldn't want.
Oh, look, Arsenal fans already.
Oh my God.
The ones that left,
Oh my God.
they don't deserve to celebrate.
Yeah.
Are they running back to the stadium or what's going on? What's going on here?
Do you know this is a bit of a defining moment for Declan Rice as well? After the
Big
big
moment.
move, big moment against Manchester United, one of the biggest rivalries in football, last minute winner. That's huge for him.
And do you know what we
And
speak
Johnny
about?
Evans.
We speak about James Maddison potentially being one of the ones that's a bit of a signing of the season, and the price tag on Rice makes it hard at times to say, "Oh, okay, because you've spent that much money," but he's right up there with contender for signing of the season because he's come in, he's slotted in straight away. He hasn't had a bad game in an Arsenal shirt, and he's then done something that is really perceived as stepping up with a career-defining moment in a big game. So.
And it's that number 6 role. Like, we can't underestimate how important that number 6 role for like them Arteta or Guardiola sides is so important. You really got to know how to receive the ball, be in the right place at the right time.
You're killing
And he's
me
just
right now.
slowed
'Cause
in.
Newcastle need one of those right now.
Yeah,
It's
you
doing my
guys
head in.
do.
Not to discredit Declan Rice, like he did his thing.
But Foden would have
comes.
scored a better goal than that.
No, that Johnny Evans deflection was horrible though. That
It was on
completely-
target though.
Yeah, but how many bodies were there? That would have just got
I
cleared
think
off.
he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew Johnny
he
Evans
just
was
aimed
going to
it
stick
for
his
the
foot
inside
out.
post, didn't he?
I mean,
Yeah.
at that point, what can you do though? You just got to smash it and hope.
I think
for
when you
best,
look
right?
at Onana, some people might say he could have done better. I think the deflection makes it very hard.
Yeah,
in
that's what
terms
it
of
was.
how
That's
high,
my point.
in terms of how high it was,
Come on,
it was
man,
a
blow
perfect
this
height,
whistle.
and he didn't even need to stretch that far to
Foul.
save it. So
Well, you lot did celebrate for that.
It was a near
How
post
was
as
that
well,
their
right?
ball?
Like,
I think if you bring a goalkeeper in, high-profile goalkeeper for a lot of money, which let's remember the price tag on that sort of position in the pitch is a lot of money. I know we spent 70 mil on Kepa, but it is a lot of money. I think you're wanting Onana to do a lot better.
this is the thing, though. He's offered a level of protection right
Oh,
now.
he's
I've
that
seen
guy.
Manchester United fans on Twitter being very defensive of some of the mistakes he's made, saying that's going to happen, which I accept. But that's basic. You're beating at your near post. Like I know it's a deflection, but I think, like you said, it's really close to where he was standing. I mean. Those are the ones where...
And it's a good height.
When
It's
you
not
look
low,
at
it's
the
not
price
high.
paid for him and you look at some of the saves that other...
Another one.
And this could be
Another
another
one.
one.
Arsenal
Another
about
one.
to wrap
Gabriel
it up.
Jesus.
Gabriel.
Oh,
Man.
come on!
That was a
I
good
love
finish.
it. I
was
love
a
a
great
best striker in the league.
That was a great
come on,
finish.
the
I
boys.
can't lie. That
Where
was
is
a great
this come
finish.
Oh
from?
my God.
crazy.
Where
Let's
has this
be real.
come from?
Manchester
Hey,
United. have had
wait,
this
sorry. Can we
conversation.
just confirm? Who called 3-1? Thank you very
I
much.
know, my
I-
2-1 would...
I said you
if
lot
he
would
blew
score
the
3
whistle
goals.
like 2 minutes
said
ago,
you'd
like he
score
should have,
3
I would have had my prediction.
I'll take that. Hey, love everywhere. Come on. Up
bro.
the goons, man.
Man United have had a lot of
the
luck in their
goons,
first
bro.
few games, and
I
Ten Hag's
run out.
luck
Look at Ten Hag
just
finish.
ran out, baby.
Cut that bit when you edit this up and be giving Man United praise.
I'll make it say whatever I want. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, look, listen, they took us right down to the wire.
Yeah.
And you could call it luck for why we went out for the second goal. I just call it being better than them. But yeah.
No, you
Oh,
had
the
your-
better side won.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was
I'll be real.
50-50.
Yeah.
I'll be real. I'm with that as
Yeah,
well. I
the-
think
the-
it was a bit.
It was a
50-50.
50-50
I think the
game.
side that had the better chances definitely won.
Yeah, yeah.
You had all the
could
better
say that.
chances in the game.
And you got to remember as well, they
What
scored in the 95th minute. Don't you feel like these days there's just so much injury time as well? Not just this game in general.
I'm kind of like
Every
it.
time I'm looking, there's like 7-8 minutes.
Oh my God.
I like the drama.
Can we just talk
but
about
what if your
some
team is wrong?
subs? Can we just talk about some subs? Maguire obviously comes on. Johnny Evans comes on, and 2 goals are conceded.
Who was
Don't try
that?
and put this on
Who
Maguire.
was my shock?
Who was that got just spun on the floor? Was that Johnny Evans
was
again?
Johnny, yeah.
Oh my God, Johnny Evans came on.
Yeah.
Poor fella, bruv. He's
It's-
thinking,
this is-
just let me chill, bruv. Why are you bringing me on?
Do you know the thing I will say in defence of Ten Hag, and it's the first time for everything, but those defenders did look dead on their feet. Why? Because Man United have been defending for the vast majority
Yep.
of this game. They played the entire first half in their own box. Like, it is going to take a toll.
That's not done
That's
yet.
it.
So I understand why
Not
he
done yet,
felt
it's a
the need
free
to make
kick.
those changes, but Man United re-signed Johnny Evans for a reason. They're not equipped as what they should be.
And after spending that much money, the 2 centre-backs on your bench are Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans. Get out of here. I'm not having it.
By the way, we're in the 102nd minute. Why is the ref still playing this game? It's over.
I think, but by the laws of the game, with every celebration of goals and it adds
Bro,
another
I
30
say let the
seconds.
game keep running.
And it's over.
Hey,
Full time,
come on.
3-1
I love
to
it.
Arsenal.
When you said, Craig, earlier that it was definitely going to be Man City that win the league, does that performance there change anything in your mind? Or
No,
would you-
because they
would
just,
you-
like, look, no disrespect to Arsenal, that's a massive win, but Man United took them all the way, like which was just stated, but they nick a goal through a deflection, and then obviously Man United's committed all their players forward, and they've countered and scored. For me, Arsenal, I still haven't seen the levels of Arsenal of last season yet.
Yeah.
But that could still come.
But don't
Man
you give
City are
them
just a well-oiled machine, man. It's
But don't you give them credit for like Arsenal? Just
For digging deep.
Yeah, for digging deep and
you have
finding
to- you have
because
to give-
even City
you
are
have
gonna
to give them, but based on what I've seen for the first 4 games
Yeah.
from Man City and Arsenal, to me it looks like Man City are going to win this league.
In terms of the coaches, Arteta brings on Gabriel Jesus. Amazing. Like, literally had a great impact on the game. I actually thought Højlund, by comparison, actually looked good when
Yeah,
he came
yeah,
on.
he did.
And I think Man United fans can definitely be encouraged by that. But bringing on those 2 centre-backs, I mean, it didn't help, did it?
Not at all. And was there injuries involved? Like, you can understand you wouldn't want to take out your starting centre backs unless there was something.
Yeah.
something
And
going
tired
on there
legs
for
as well.
take.
I understand that.
But look, if you don't have the strength and depth in the Premier League, that is where you get picked apart. It's as simple as that. So yeah, I understand why they signed Johnny Evans, but They're obviously really constrained by FFP as well, but come on, like, could there have been another?
I didn't think Johnny Evans was signed to actually play.
Yeah.
I thought he was there for the
I don't
vibe
think-
sort of
yeah,
thing,
I don't
Paul
think-
Dummett.
Yeah,
like, just
yeah.
there to cheer the lads on.
I don't
Yeah.
think Johnny Evans thinks he was signed to play.
He's like,
Honestly,
well, me?
yeah.
Fucking hell. I'm coming off the bench. Fucking hell. And when I look at Manchester United so far this season, first game they played Wolves, then they played Spurs, then they played Notts Forest. They played terribly against Wolves. They got quite lucky in that game. Against Spurs, they got found out big time, boss. Against Forest, they conceded 2 in the first 5 minutes. Didn't look good, but had to recover. Showed some good mental strength, but obviously, like Bruno and Rashford dug them out of trouble. In this game, it was far more of a team battle, tactical battle, and they weren't up to the standard of Arsenal.
My worry would be for a Man United fan as well, right? I don't want to use the word easy, but when you play in a big game against a big rival, another big club that are going to be competing, it's actually not too hard to up your level. You look at how Chelsea have performed recently, but how we performed against Liverpool.
You look better against Liverpool than you get against Forest.
Exactly, and when you play, you can rise your level. My concern would be, I don't know who Man United have got next, but if they're playing a team maybe outside the top 8 or so, my concern would be, okay, can we go again next week?
To your point, that's exactly what just happened in Newcastle. Our levels against City and Liverpool were higher than against Brighton. There was that hangover emotionally.
They've got Brighton next.
I knew.
And then they are away to Bayern Munich.
Is that United?
Yeah.
Is that Brighton at home or away?
Brighton is at home.
Doesn't matter,
Bayern
mate. They're
Munich
losing.
is away.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
So they've not got 2 easy fixtures to come off this one and play against. So straight into the fire, eh?
And this is one that cuts deep. You dug so deep. You tried so
gave a
hard,
lot.
and yet you still couldn't get any
But then,
points.
but then look,
Man,
football
was cruel.
I was literally about to say that. Like, honestly, they could have been 2-1 up and celebrating at the end of this.
Remember, he was like literally an eyelash offside. Like it was that tight. So
it
it's
was
like
very
it was
obvious.
really. I thought it was tight. It was good.
I'm
it was,
joking,
I know,
You
it
thought
was-
it was in. You thought it was a goal. You were happy.
Yeah, and these are the margins. That's why I'm not. For me, Man United, Arsenal are a better side than Man United right now. So we actually, majority of us around the table said that Arsenal would win this game, right? We didn't expect them. You lot were saying they were going to get smashed. That's how you said 3-0.
Yeah.
You said 3-1.
That's what I thought,
But that's not a smash. But I hear what you're saying.
You lot were basically they were implying they
I
were going to
said-
get
I
smashed.
said they were gonna get
I said
smashed.
3-1. I thought it was going to be a tight game. It was a very tight game. And like I said, 95th minute, cross comes in, deflection, ends up in the back of the net, and then they've committed players forward and they've got caught on the counter. The scoreline doesn't actually reflect the game, if we're being totally honest. I thought once the changes were made, Man United were actually in the ascendancy, in my opinion. But that's football, man.
Yeah, I think you make some good points. I think what I'm waiting for from Manchester United, which hasn't happened yet this season, is a clean win. One game
Yeah, they haven't had
where
that.
you just clean the opposition out. Newcastle had that against Villa even. We've looked terrible since. But Man United have gotten quite lucky to have 6 points out of those 2 games that they've played, that they won rather. And I think they're going to have to really turn up against Brighton because, as Newcastle found out the hard way, they're a fucking serious side.
There were certain, and they would have been Man United fans. I didn't hear a lot of non-Man United fans calling for it, but there were certain, and probably a lot of Man United fans that were saying, this is the season, Ten Hag's second season, this is where we challenge. Do we all agree now that we're not putting them anywhere near the likes of Man City and Arsenal?
I thought that. I thought because there was that period last season where they were just teetering on, is this a title? And then it didn't quite happen for them. And I thought, all right, you spend another couple of $100 million, bring in a Mason Mount, bring in, strength and depth. Maybe this is the season where because I was told from Ten Hag, all of the excuse makers from Manchester United side were, it's his first season, give him time. Absolutely, makes sense. A lot of bad results away from home. They'll start to tidy themselves up in the second season, implementing your own philosophy into it. But we're not seeing that. If anything, I think Manchester United look worse this season than they did last season, to be honest.
They had a bad start to last season. They did manage to turn it round under Ten Hag. So
I still think top 4 should be on. They absolutely minimum should get top 4 because when you spend as much money as you have and you've got the firepower they've got, you absolutely should be getting top 4.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
Sure.
No, there's no way I can listen to anyone say that shouldn't be expected.
I think that a lot of people are going to think I'm biased right here. I don't think they're noticeably better from what I've seen from them so far than Chelsea.
I just mean in terms of the circumstances Ten Hag has.
Yeah.
The expectation and pressure on him should be top 4.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't do that, he has failed. And if people want to go on about, oh, well, it's Man United and it's hard, and mate, you can't, when Brighton look as good as they do, and I know Brighton are an anomaly, but when there's many other teams out there who who can give Manchester United a run for their money, but have spent way less and have come with way less of an expectation and reputation as Ten Hag has.
In the 2 seasons that preceded Ten Hag as well, okay, one of them they had a really bad season, didn't finish anywhere near the top 4, and the other season I think they finished second, didn't they?
I think they finished 6th under Ollie.
Yeah.
And then second, and then
Second.
was it 3rd or something like that?
Whatever it was. So if you look at that and you use that as a bit of a measuring stick, if they don't get top 4 this season, can you say they've progressed? They might have different personnel, things might be a little bit different in the club, but can you say they've progressed? It's not nailed on, is it?
Let's talk about, finally, who is the signing of the summer, in our opinion. I know there's some bias here at the table, but I'm looking forward to it. We'll start with Declan Rice as an option because he's just scored the winning goal for Arsenal. Do we think that he should be up there?
Yeah, he's definitely up there. I think that goes without saying. And I think like even before a ball was kicked, you can sort of hang your hat on him being up there. Doesn't necessarily make him the signing of the summer. And not regardless of his performances, but one thing that will slightly go against him is the fact that he's got such a big price tag. So whenever anyone says, well, he's doing well, everyone will go, well, he's supposed to for 100 million, you know what I mean?
True.
And maybe that's where you'll look at the likes of a James Maddison and you might put him right up there because you think, okay, considerably less money, and obviously came into a side where he was really, really needed positionally just on the pitch. But I think Declan Rice is going to be right up there. I don't see him dropping off.
James Maddison, Craig, what you saying?
It has to be James Maddison for me. I just think 40 million is a steal for James Maddison. And obviously Declan Rice is a quality player. But the only way I'm going to say it's Declan Rice at the end of the season is if Arsenal win the league and he is the difference maker. Because that's what they signed him to kind of close that gap. If they don't win, and I know that sounds harsh, but if they don't win the league, it's like, all right, next season we got to see what he's capable of because 100 million is a lot of money. James Maddison for 40 million, like 4 games in, and it's just 4 games in, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 goal involvements already. You can see the effect he's really having on this Spurs team. Everything that's going good through the Spurs team right now is coming through him. So I'll go with that. But Declan Rice has definitely made a case scoring that goal today. Deflection or no deflection, he's made a case.
Yeah, watching James Maddison is heartbreaking. Like, because Newcastle were right there. We had him just ready to sign him the year before Spurs got him. And all the way into the transfer market, we were clearly tracking him. So for us to be right now desperately needing someone who can open the game up while we've got 2 very similar players in Bruno and Tonali and not having someone who can move the ball forward the way he does so fast. And even if he isn't getting the goal or assist, he's the one playing the pass before that.
Yeah.
Do you know, he's so involved in integral to
Think
Spurs.
about it. Mount, 60 mil. Kai Havertz, how much was he?
Yeah, 60.
60 mil. Cole Palmer, 5 million more. 45 mil.
Expensive. 50
I hear what
mil.
you're saying on Maddison, but again, one of the biggest things around Maddison goes back to the whole thing of if you're not reliable in terms of not being injured, then you're unreliable. Is he going to be reliable throughout the whole season? And then does he maintain these standards? And I hear what you're saying about if Arsenal go and win the league, that's the only way Rice can do it. And if he plays a big part, how do you judge Rice's part in comparison to Maddison when it's all about numbers? Like it's a lot harder to judge Rice and what he does than Maddison.
Well, that's why I think the price tag is such an important part in saying who is the best, is the signing of the summer, because it's like for 100 mil, like I said, what are Arsenal? Arsenal just missed out on the league. In fact, they were in pole position to win the league last season. Yeah. If we're being real, without me trying to sound like I'm bannering you, they bottled it, right? They were in pole position. They were at top of the league, spent the most days ever at the top of the league. These are just facts. So the only way they got to go again is to try and win the league, is to close that gap. Who have they signed? Timber, he's out the picture. Declan Rice, and who else did you sign?
Havertz.
And Havertz.
And
well,
Raya.
Havertz ain't looking... And Raya's not playing, Timber's injured, Havertz ain't looking that good. So Rice has got to be, for 100 million, none of the rest of them cost 100 million. He's got to be the difference maker in closing that gap. So to me, if they don't even, they have to be even in a title challenge then at least.
But can I ask you the
minimum?
Can I ask you the question? At the beginning of last season, did you even expect anywhere to be near the top? No. Everyone writ them off. Everyone writ them off. No. Everyone writ. So we already by far overachieved. We didn't just overachieve. We by far overachieved.
Keeping it into the sign of the summer, Chelsea have made a fuck ton.
Yeah.
So, Caicedo is obviously the signing of the summer. No, I reckon the one that we're sleeping on is Liverpool, actually, not Chelsea. I'm not putting any of the Chelsea players in there. I'm sorry, Joe. I think...
Fine by me.
I think Szoboszlai...
Yeah.
Easy for you to say.
Good player.
Szoboszlai. I think he's quality, and he's done it again today.
Yeah.
I think we're sleeping on some of the Liverpool players. I think
He's
he could come
annoyingly good. He's really good.
If we're talking about honourable mentions, the two, well, they've brought in more than two, but two names Brighton have brought in, obviously Ansu Fati, no one saw that coming, and he could, and I would imagine most people who expect will go and light it up there. Another one is João Pedro. João Pedro's a really good signing for Brighton. I know he came in for a fair bit of money, but he's someone that straight away is going to be in that first team doing a really good job, and maybe you look at the players that Brighton are bringing in, and obviously this is a credit to them, but they're playing so well that maybe these players will gel a little bit quicker than, say, someone brought into an underperforming Chelsea side or someone else. But I think they're two definitely honourable mentions.
Do you know what? I'm going to suggest something and I have no clue whether or not this will be the case, but based on the 5 minutes we've just seen of Højlund, he looked good.
Yeah, he did.
And there's a little ray of sunshine for Manchester United fans to go, fuck me, he put the cat amongst the pigeons, because Arsenal at the back were panicking because of his presence, and he immediately storms into the box, commits a man, trying to make things happen on his own, nearly wins a penalty. It doesn't happen for him, but on the flick for the actual goal that was eventually ruled offside. In terms of contributions over 10 minutes, that was pretty fucking good from him. He really made an impact. So maybe he might be someone who we're surprised by.
He's definitely going to have a case of being able to propel himself to be that number one signing when we speak about this topic, because he's one of the ones, along with, Rice and a few others, that you can say, well, he's definitely starting. He's definitely playing number 9 ahead of Martial.
Mate. And that's actually fantastic for him as well, because there's a lot of pressure on new signings automatically. We've talked about it throughout the show with Havertz. Does he start the next game? Whereas if you're a number 9, you just want that full backing to be, pressure's off, I'm starting. And I think you'll get that with Ten Hag. He has to. All right, it's been a great show, lads. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Is there any last super chats we need to cover? Are we good?
I just think that a couple of people have said Ward-Prowse as signing of the summer.
Fucking good show.
Yeah.
That's a very, very good shout.
Yeah.
And he's come in and performed incredibly
And also, they
well.
got him for a good price, because Southampton were wanting 50 million. They got him for, what was it, 20, 30?
I think it was 30 odd, yeah.
And when you look at the impact he's had, it's been super.
Immediate.
Yeah.
If you're talking about players coming in, he has made an immediate impact. Arguably more of an immediate impact than even Rice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you say what was yours?
Listen, I think for me, it's so early, and I'm going to be 100% real with it. What I've seen from Maddison, he's crazy. And I've always loved Maddison. I've been screaming, I think he should play for England. Maybe there was different issues there. So arguably right now, you could put it as Maddison right now. But yeah,
I like Ward-Prowse though.
Who are we going for around the table?
Do you know what? I think Ward-Prowse is my shout right
Is it
now.
based on what they've done till now, or based on what we think it's going to be at the end of the season? Rice.
Do you know why? And it's a bit snidey, really, because I hadn't even thought of him. But do you know why I would say Ward-Prowse, especially maybe Ward-Prowse over Rice, is what Arsenal did when they brought Rice in was they levelled up again, yeah? But they weren't massively desperate right there. They could have gone on, if they hadn't sold Xhaka, they could have gone on for another season and still performed to a good level, but he's massively levelled them up. West Ham were desperate there. They had no one. Rice had gone. They've got Souček there. They didn't have anyone that could come in straight away and go, right, I'll hold the fort here. I'll be the man. I'll be all right.
But the question is, does Rice leaving West Ham leaves a big void in there? The question is, does James Ward-Prowse, James Ward-Prowse, does he fill that void and add more, or does he fill it and add less?
He already has.
Do you know what?
Because he scores a pretty goal every now and again. But I mean, actually making a difference.
He's not the same player.
Where is West Ham going to end up? Let's be real. West Ham, where are they going to end up at the end of the season?
But if they're lucky, this is to your point though. I was thinking, fucking hell, they could end up battling relegation. Yeah, because we were all saying. Davy Moyes needs to get the fuck out of there after this trophy, because the pressure is going to be up, and especially with losing Rice, like what the hell is he facing? So to steady the ship and all of a sudden be looking like everything's fine, Ward-Prowse is here. I'm very impressed by how they've sort of dealt with all of this.
Okay. Even though you said that we were going to finish bottom half of the table, and then Maddison's come in, and I know it's 4 games, it's only 4 games, but we're currently sitting second, undefeated.
Okay.
Due to him.
You know what? I'm talking shit. It's Maddison.
Yeah, it's
to him.
Do you know what? I think
right.
that's why you can give a case.
We finished 8
I
last
think you can give a case for putting both Maddison and James Ward-Prowse ahead of Rice, and that's not me being a hater. I love Rice. I think he's the bollocks. I want him in the England team every single time. But I think there's a case there because of what I was saying about how desperate a team are for a certain style of player. Spurs were desperate for someone like Maddison.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Once Rice left West Ham, because he was so good, it was a big loss. They were desperate for someone to fill that void. And I'm not calling him a like for like of Rice. I'm saying he's a player that come in very capable, and he might not give you 9.5s out of 10. He'd give you a 7.5 every single week.
40 million as well, guys. Can we just
great
talk about the
context,
transfer
though.
fees?
It's great context in terms of like the desperation those two clubs were in. Arsenal weren't in the desperation place. So that's why we're talking about the value to the club they've gone to that they are now. Because if Ward-Prowse doesn't go to West Ham, well, then they've got a giant fucking hole in that team. So
And Rice isn't worth 100 mil.
but I'm going to give
I know,
it,
but
personally, I'll give it to Maddison because of what you've said.
Yeah.
He is
My biggest reservation towards Maddison, again, is does he stay injury-free? If he does, then fair enough, albeit. But I think Partey is one of the best centre mids out there, but he's always injured. He's always injured for us, so how can I rate him as highly as maybe another player? So for me, those are my reservations with Maddison. He's proven time and time again he's injured. As a player, he's unbelievable. But it's the injuries for me which kind of hold back on that. Because if now, let me ask you a question. If he gets injured now for the rest of the season, or he gets injured for 4 months like he has done so many times, are people then going to turn around and say, I can't believe they spent 44 million on someone who's got this injury record? Those same questions will arise.
You're bang on, mate. I can't even lie. It's been a good show. It's been a good show. And look, well done, especially to Manel. Made your debut. Smashed it, lad.
Come on, man, I appreciate
You can
you
check
guys.
out more of his content on Top Ballers. And all of the lads' YouTube channels and socials are obviously going to be in the description. Big love to all of you lot who supported the show. We'll be back. It's going to be a little break now, isn't it? Because we got the
we've got 2
internationals
weeks off.
And then after that, Newcastle are in the fucking Champions League. I've got that to worry about. So we'll be back soon. Peace. Thanks a lot.
Come on.